moments ago. Highway 59 is where that damage has occurred. So that's the first picture of damage that we've got here. Go ahead and take me at the wall again here, if you guys will. That was a few minutes ago. This was at the south side of Lawrence, looking toward the storm from one of the City of Lawrence traffic cameras. That location is 23rd and O'Connell, and that was at 6:22 p.m. When that actually occurred. Right before the tornado hit is how it appears. Let's see another view here, and the other traffic cameras I don't think saw anything or were knocked out when the storm came through. A couple of them getting no data available, which is what happened to our tower camera over there as well. Was it went dark right about the first moment they actually saw the rain-wrapped tornado kind of emerging and heading toward the city of Lawrence. So the folks in Eudora right now, you are in the path of this, the worst part of it, and the tornado emergency continues now for Eudora. So the south side of Lawrence has been hit by this, and now we've got Eudora in the path of this. You've really just got moments here before this thing arrives. It's just east of the city of Lawrence, east side of town still really. You got Eudora right here, maybe passing just to the north of Eudora, but this is awfully close to Interstate 70, awfully close to Highway 32 as well. So we've got the Kansas Turnpike there. There's the town of Sherman and DeSoto are going to be in the path of this as well. But Eudora, you've got to take cover right now if you're in Eudora. This is very, very nasty. That's the rotation showing up on the radar. I'd have a hard time imagining the correlation coefficient isn't picking up again. There's the debris ball in this showing up on the radar. And as I put this into motion, we'll go ahead and loop it, and you can see that ball of blue roll in there from the south side of Lawrence right across the south side of town, where we do have that confirmation of some damage at this point along Highway 59. Just the last few minutes is when this has occurred. All right, let me go ahead and see if I can check the cameras there again. The cameras, our live camera's done. I don't think we're going to get it back today. Just no chance at this point from what I see. And on the east side of Lawrence, looks like the tornado is just east of Lawrence at this point. So the picture I have here, this is from 2 minutes ago at 23rd and O'Connell. Bring that up here. That's 23rd and O'Connell. That's very close to where the storm would have been at that point. And you can see what looks like probably is the tornado right there over the horizon, if not awfully close to it. So again, that's what it looks like at 23rd and O'Connell just 2 minutes ago. But this is moving toward Eudora, or awfully close to Eudora right now. I'm going to try to bring up the KDOT cameras here. I want to see if they have one of these on candrive.org, because it's going to be close to I-70.
While you're doing that here,
go ahead.
Let me go ahead and get you. I need to get a quick update here for those of you in the northwest sections of our area. We do have Republic County under a tornado warning outside of our viewing area, technically, but we know a lot of you there from Belleville do get our signal and do watch us. There's a strong area of rotation in the southwest part of Republic County. So if you're in Norway, you need to be in shelter right now. Also, Scandia and Belleville, I would be in your tornado shelters. This is moving more in an easterly direction, so particularly in Norway, you need to be in shelter. Also Scandia and Belleville. Based on what I'm seeing here on radar, Republic is in the tornado warning, but the greatest threat is in the southern part of Republic County. So we're going to keep watching those storms. There's also another one still well to the west of Concordia. We'll keep an eye on that one, but again, still this storm that did produce some damage. We got to confirm exactly where that was, because based on radar, this skimmed the far southern end of Lawrence near K-10 highway on the south side of the city, and is now moving into the southern sections of Leavenworth County. If you're in Eudora, you need to still be in shelter. This is a debris ball still on radar on the Kansas River near Eudora. So if you're in Eudora, stay in shelter. Linwood, you need to be in your tornado shelters at this point right now. And DeSoto, this storm is not letting up, and it is heading towards you. Again, the area that we're looking at here, this is debris being lofted into the air. It's very easy to pick out here. The reds are just indicating where we have rain, and we also have the blue indicating tornado debris. Let's go ahead and take Sean. All right, he's south of Lawrence. Do we know what highway he's on, where he's looking at heavy rain right now? He's on Highway 59, so that was where the tornado did cross earlier. So we're going there in Lawrence because it does look like, based on some of the information that we have seen, that there has been some damage. But again, we're looking live from Sean Wheat, just looking at some rain. Let me get you back over here to the radar real quickly. We'll continue to check back in with Sean as he continues to monitor that storm. But the area of the tornado that is still on the ground is now crossing into the southern sections of Leavenworth County, getting out of Douglas County now. But if you're in Linwood, you need to be in shelter now. You are the next in line for this tornado to head your way. But as we look at the debris mode on radar, that is still a very clear signature of tornadic debris. Again, hopefully this might have missed Eudora just to the northwest, but you still want to be in your shelter in Eudora because this storm is very close to you. Also Linwood, you want to be in your tornado shelters right now. Again, you're not going to see it because it is going to be obscured by rain, but we have tornado warnings continuing downstream that we'll continue to watch carefully. Jeremy?
All right, Peyton, so this is our radar now, our Capitol Federal Live storm tracker, seeing that rotating storm, the history of producing a tornado. Here's a picture of the tornado a few minutes ago as it went across the south side of Lawrence from one of the City of Lawrence traffic cams. You can see a huge tornado there on the ground as it's making its way into the south side of the city. So I'm watching now as I've got one of the KC Scout cams that is downstream, and I saw the folks that are running this from the Kansas Turnpike. They spun this camera around, so now they are looking. It says eastbound. They're actually looking westbound on this traffic camera from the toll plaza there, looking toward the storm. It's awfully close to Interstate 70 at this point, getting close to Eudora at this time. But these folks are still driving west toward that. And again, it's a confirmed, very dangerous, huge tornado that has touched down on the south side of Lawrence and now is off the coast of Eudora. And we're watching it now, and it looks like it's probably right there in that tower camera looking westbound on the Kansas Turnpike. So again, back to the radar here. This is what we have of the Kansas, live Capitol Federal live storm tracker looking at the storm, and there it is. Okay, so now we got the folks from the Turnpike Plaza 1166, and they're looking at the storm now. I think that's it on the tower camera there, looking along I-70, and that's the East Toll Plaza looking west toward the storm. They actually spun this tower camera around. I don't have control over this one, but it's one of the KC Scout cameras that's located at the end of the Kansas toll, the Kansas toll on the east end. And you can see looking to the west what looks like it's probably the same storm that we had just a few minutes ago rolling through Lawrence and producing the damage. All right, so back over to the radar here. I'm going to bring this back up.
If you're in Linwood, you need to be in shelter now. This is a circulation that's about 1 or 2 miles west of Linwood. So Linwood, you need to be in your tornado shelters. This is moving into the southern sections of Leavenworth County. Tornado warnings now extend into the western part of the Kansas City metro area, likely to track north of Olathe and Overland Park. But if this thing is not weakened, I mean, let me go back here on radar. This thing has been probably on the ground for over 30 minutes now, based on what I'm seeing. So crossing into the southern part of Leavenworth County. The threat is now east of Lawrence. It's moving very close to Linwood. So this storm is still ongoing at this point.
All right, Peyton, so here's what we've got from the radar, the Capitol Federal Live Storm Tracker. You can see the rotation showing up there near Sherman and just north of Eudora. And again, watching. So we're watching this roll northeast, and it should be in the DeSoto area in the next few moments. Okay, I've got a live video of storm damage in Lawrence. Let's see what you guys have got. Okay, so that's from the big tornado that touched down in Lawrence. Just about 6:15 until about 6:30 is when it appears to have been in the city of Lawrence. And we've got almost entire roofs taken off there, walls taken down as well. You can see some folks there that are just taking pictures of the damage, I assume, in their homes, and just an absolute mess. So a big tornado just ripped across the south side of Lawrence, doing some damage there, and that is not minor damage. That is not your EF-0 or 1 that we've have seen many times. This is going to be a big one, and that's some of the damage there on the south side of Lawrence.
Do we know where this is at? Can we find that out?
It's just on highway, what highway is this on? 59. Okay, if you get a neighborhood there, let me know. I want to know exactly where that's at, but that's the damage this thing has done on the south side of Lawrence. And we were looking at our tower camera, and it took the tower camera down from the power outage, I'm sure, and then we saw it.
Okay.
59 south of Lawrence. Okay. All right, go ahead and bring up the radar if you guys will. This is what we have now, looking at the radar, and you can see the storm is approaching DeSoto at this time and moving into the southern parts of Leavenworth County and then heading toward the Kansas City metro. So again, this is a very dangerous storm, has a history of producing a large tornado and doing just a lot of damage on the south side of Lawrence. And this is how it looks now from the Kansas Turnpike, the toll plaza, the east end of it, looking west into the storm. And that's the live view of it now. The Kansas Turnpike folks have spun the camera around. It said it was looking east, but they have changed the direction of the camera. They are watching it to the west. So that's one of the KC Scout cams, and we're watching it live now. It is still on the ground doing damage and heading now for the Kansas City metro area. And again, we did catch a picture of that as well a few minutes ago when it did go into the south side of Lawrence. This is from the City of Lawrence traffic camera at 23rd and O'Connell a little while ago. That was at 6:22. And then there's a picture from 23rd and Alabama. I'll go ahead and zoom that out a little bit so you can see better. That's at 6:24. So a very dangerous storm again with the history of producing a big tornado there. That's how it looked again at 6:22 from 23rd and O'Connell. And then just a couple of moments later, again, that's at 23rd and Alabama in the city of Lawrence as that big, dangerous, damaging tornado moved right across the south side of the city. And as we showed you a few moments ago, we have confirmation that there are homes that have bad damage there on the south side of Lawrence from what we're seeing. Peyton, you have an update?
Nothing just yet. Places down. Okay. Okay, so we have Sean Wheat, who's live in Lawrence. Want to let you know real quick, tornado warning now moving east of Douglas County, but this area of circulation still on the tornado still on the ground is now moving into the southern parts of Leavenworth County. So the threat now is moving east of Lawrence, but we do now want to go live to Sean Wheat. He is in Lawrence. He does have the latest on the situation there with this damaging tornado that moved across at least the far south side of the city. Sean, what do you have?
We are currently south of Lawrence by about maybe 3 miles south of Lawrence, where there's a small housing division. Take a look here. We've spotted at least 4 houses that have been hit by this tornado possibly. We're seeing some people come out of this house right now. They're coming out of the garage, they're coming out of the basement area, including some children here. You can see that live here. It looks like everybody's okay. We're not seeing any injuries with those individuals now. Emergency personnel are getting on scene at this very moment. We see sheriff's deputies now rushing here to this area. There are power lines down also associated. This is one house. Just beyond that, there's another house with roof damage. Then over to the west a little bit, to the east a little bit, is another house. It looks like it's completely caved in. We've got a house, we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses that we can see damage here at this location. We do not know if there are any injuries associated with this currently. We aren't able to get down there because there's no access road from where we're at, but it looks like people are walking out of these homes at this very moment. We are going to try to get a little bit more of an assessment of damage. We know that there's more damage a little here to the north too. Stay tuned. We're going to get some more information for you. But as of right now, this is the damage that we're seeing south of Lawrence in this little subdivision. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks for that, Sean. If we could work on getting exactly where Weather Service is wondering where that damage was. So if we can work on getting maybe a road intersection close by. But based on radar, that was just south of K10 Highway. So we'll continue to work on that. Good news that I can pass along. Lawrence, all of Douglas County, no longer in a tornado warning. The threat is now moving to the east. But for places in southern Leavenworth County, places like Linwood, the rotation's right on top of you. Baser, Bonner Springs, moving out to the western sections of the Kansas City area. This is a tornado emergency for these areas, still ongoing. That does include portions of the western part of Kansas City. If you have friends and family in these areas, looks like the circulation is going to go north of Olathe. It will be getting close to the western part of the 435 loop in Kansas City and close to Overland Park. So a storm that we're going to be monitoring carefully. Again, confirmed damage on the south side of Lawrence, and we're continuing to work to get more information on that. And that, of course, that is our top story so far today. And we're going to work on getting an exact location of where Sean Wheat was. Again, he's going to continue to gather the latest information with that storm there. Jeremy?
All right, Peyton, Melissa Brenner telling me now the turnpike is closed. Look, east of Bonner Springs, west of Bonner Springs. And what you'll see here, this camera moving, I don't have control over that. That is the Kansas Turnpike Authority, part of the KC Scout camera network. They're turning it southwest from the turnpikes. The turnpike is closed right now from Lawrence to Bonner Springs because of the tornado. And that's it. That's your tornado right there. Live video here looking to the southwest from the East Toll Plaza on the Kansas Turnpike. You have a huge tornado that just did damage across the south side of Lawrence, and we had a live video of it there on our camera before it took it out, and now you have it right here. That's it. You can see dust flying on both sides of this. The tornado is just south of the Kansas Turnpike right now.
Yeah.
It's going toward Bonner Springs.
New report here. Train spotter reports a semi overturned and highway signs down. This is about 10-15 minutes ago along Highway 59, 1 mile south of K10. So again, Lawrence, this is a very close call. We did have damage on the south side, but it missed the heavier population center just to the south. Once you start getting south of K10, that is where we did have, again, reports of a semi-overturned, highway signs down. And again, Sean Wheat's there live. We'll continue to gather that information. Jeremy?
All right, so there's the tornado. It's still on the ground. This is live video. This is not recorded. This is right now.
Sorry.
So the turnpike is closed from Lawrence to Bonner Springs right now, and that's the tornado. It's still a big tornado. If you have friends or family in Kansas City, you need to let them know that this is coming toward the Kansas City Metro. It's going toward areas like DeSoto. Bonner Springs is in the path of this. That's it. Again, this is not a picture from a few minutes ago on Facebook. This is from the Kansas, the Kansas Turnpike, and they spun the camera around off of the interstate to go look at this. They can do that sometimes. So this camera typically is looking east. They spun it around to look west, and now they're looking southwest. And that is the tornado right now that just tore up the south side of South Lawrence a few minutes ago. Now on the radar, we can see it. We'll zoom in more closely here on this, and again, it's not a Doppler radar indicated tornado. It's not maybe a tornado. It's a big, powerful tornado just south of the Kansas Turnpike that's just about to move into Bonner Springs in the next few moments. And on the velocity mode here, you can see it maybe a mile off the Kansas Turnpike to the south, and moving off to the northeast at this point. So we'll loop it, and again, we saw it go across the south side of Lawrence, do the damage there, and now it's going to be approaching Bonner Springs in the next few minutes, and it won't be long before this makes it into the west side of Kansas City, looking like probably north of I-70 in the Kansas City Metro, but a huge deal here. We've got this big tornado confirmed, long-lived at this point. It's been on the ground since well southwest of Lawrence, and now it's moving into an area with a huge population. And we'll have to see what happens there.
Weather Service did mention that they're getting debris as far northwest as Tonganoxie, and they're not technically in the tornado warning. So this is a pretty powerful storm system that's getting a lot of debris outside of the warned area.
And this is it right here. That's the tornado on the ground still. Again, from the Kansas City Scout Cam. That's just a live from the Kansas Turnpike, and that's going to be looking from the turnpike to the southwest toward the tornado right now. So that's what it looks like over there currently. Back on the radar here, let's go back to the latest in the Capitol Federal Live Storm Tracker, and you can see the storm moving to the northeast toward the city of toward Kansas City right now. And I'm going to take a look at this camera. I needed to load it again. There it is. Now this is live, and you can see it. This is a huge tornado. Oh my goodness, that's looking again down the Kansas Turnpike, just east of Lawrence, close to Bonner Springs. Man, I can't overstate that we haven't had something like that on television here. The closest thing we had was Chapman a couple of years ago when it went just south of Chapman. But that's a huge tornado right now going toward Bonner Springs. If you have friends or family there, you need to call them right now. Or if you're there, you need to take cover right now. That is a huge tornado. It's going to do a ton more damage from what I'm seeing, and it's getting much closer to that camera that's on the Kansas Turnpike, looking directly toward it. And it won't be more than a few moments before this probably hits that tower camera on the Turnpike. So the National Weather Service, we just learned that the Turnpike had been closed west of Bonner Springs all the way to Lawrence because of this storm. And you know, again, it's a huge tornado on the ground there, and making its way almost into Bonner Springs right now. It looks like it's just almost right on the Kansas Turnpike. So again, looking over from the Kansas City Scout Cam, going to bring it back up here to where you can see it again. And again, it's on the ground. It's huge, and it's certainly still doing damage right now. So this is what it looks like. Again, we'll bring this back around.
This tornado's taking out a toll booth. Got a report of that.
That might be what we're looking at right here.
That's right.
All right, so the east end of the Kansas Turnpike, that looks like we're getting video right now of the Turnpike toll booth getting hit. So if you've driven east on the Kansas Turnpike ever, I'm sure that you've had to pay a couple of bucks there, and that's where the tornado is right now. And most likely we'll lose that tower camera in a moment, but that's it. That's a huge tornado working its way right down the Kansas Turnpike now. A few moments ago, it did damage on the south side of Lawrence. Now they're trying to turn it. You can see the warm air feeding into the tornado. On the left side there, they're turning the camera around the turnpike is. On the right side, that's the debris and dust flying. On the left side, that is where it's feeding in. So just to give you an idea, there's a pole right here blocking part of the view, but over here it's feeding energy into the storm. The tornado is right there. This is all tornado on this side of the pole, and the report is we have one of these toll booths that's been taken out now by the tornado. Not this one, at least not yet. The next few moments, this thing's likely going to get hit directly by this tornado. So hopefully they'll get the people out that are working at those things, get them the heck out of there, or get them to shelter right away, because that thing is going directly at that camera. All right, so back over to the radar. Let's see what's going on here. We've got the confirmed tornado. It did damage in the south side of Lawrence. It's about to do damage in Bonner Springs, and folks around Bonner Springs should be taking cover now, if not sooner. But on the radar, we've got that storm we're dealing with. We've also got tornadoes in parts of Republic County and parts of Jewell and Mitchell County. We've had them there. We're also seeing storms developing near Wichita. This line could fill in with more storms along this through the next few hours. So we're certainly not done with the severe weather and tornado threat at this point. We're really just kind of getting started. I don't know how late in the evening it will go, but this one certainly has done a lot of damage. And we have more that are lined up out to the west that most likely will be rolling our way. New tornado warning now. This is going to be for the northwest part of Washington County. So let's check this one out. And it's for the storm that was going through Republic County. So this is it. Now we have Haddam and Morrowville in the tornado warning. Washington County is part of the WIBW viewing area, our official DMA, and we need you guys to take cover now. So we were dealing with this and it went across the southern part of Lawrence into Bonner Springs. This one's going through the Belleville area and near Scandia, and is heading for Haddam and Morrowville in the northwest side of Washington County. The back button here and get off of this image, but the tornado warning there is going for the northwest parts. Okay, that's northwest Marshall County. So let's go ahead and get the aerial shot of the tornado. This is from KMBC. That's live video of the tornado that's heading toward Bonner Springs right now, or in Bonner Springs. That is a huge tornado. There's just no way around it, and that's what they're seeing from their helicopter from KMBC in Kansas City, as this is moving toward the north side of Kansas City right now, and Bonner Springs is right in the teeth of it. It's moving down the Kansas Turnpike. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Kansas Turnpike is closed from Lawrence to Bonner Springs because of that storm. Let's go back to the radar here and show you what we've got. We've got northwest Washington County. You are in a tornado warning right now as well. So we've got kind of surrounded by storms now. The one in Wichita, one in Kansas City, and now we've got the one that's moving into Washington County. The northwest part of Washington County, you have a new tornado warning just issued in the last few moments, and it's for this storm that's coming near Belleville at this time and heading toward Cuba, Haddam, Mahaska. Let's check out the velocity on this one and see where we're going with this. So a bright area showing up here, the bright blues and the bright reds bumping up against each other. I'm going to check and see if we've got anything on the debris mode here where it might be. And it looks like it'll be touching down just south of Belleville if in fact that one is touching down. All right, so that's the storm that's moving toward areas like Haddam and Mahaska. So let's give you a time of arrival on this, going from the rotation here.
They're doing 40.
They're doing 40?
Yep. Thank
you. So we've got Tabor at 7:03, Mahaska 7:22 p.m., and taking it more of a southeast trajectory at 40 miles per hour. Haddam 7:20, Cuba 7:07 p.m. you'd be in the path of this. Is that radar indicated or is it confirmed?
That's radar indicated.
Okay.
It was, we did have confirmed earlier, but we haven't had any recent reports with that one.
Okay, very good. So if you're in those areas, Haddam, Mahaska, Cuba, take cover right now. The tornado potentially just south of Belleville, awfully close to Highway 81 is where it's going to be located right now. Again, we still have the big tornado that appears to be doing damage to the east across the Bonner Springs area right now, approaching Kansas City. Do you guys still have that helicopter shot? If that still exists, let me know. We just go ahead and bring that up. We don't see something like that every day, that's for sure. All right, so that's over Bonner Springs right now, and I know a lot of you have got friends or family in that area. There it is. You've got a huge tornado. Looks like it's still on the ground to me and doing damage right over or awfully close to Bonner Springs at this point, working its way down the Kansas Turnpike and heading for the north side of Kansas City from everything I see on the radar there. So Bonner Springs and Baser, if you have friends or family in those areas, or if you're there, take cover immediately. This is definitely not picture time. This is run for it time. That's a huge tornado on the ground and doing a lot of damage, has a history of doing damage. So right there in the Baser area and Bonner Springs, we have what appears to be a tornado on the ground still, and I just can't imagine anything that's make that thing fall apart before it gets into the north side of Kansas City. So the Kansas Speedway is also in the path of that. And again, it's a confirmed tornado that's touched down several times. All right, go ahead and bring it back to the radar if you guys will. So here's what we have. That's the latest in the Capitol Federal live storm tracker. We'll put this one back into motion, loop it. And again, going right to the Kansas Turnpike, close to Sherman, close to Bonner Springs, and then likely moving up to areas like Parkville or Gladstone, south side of the city like Overland Park. Shawnee is the path of this really at this point if it makes a little bit of a right turn. But it's really going to be the north half of Kansas City that looks to take the brunt of this thing. All right, so let's look back in at the storm that's moving into Washington County. If you guys have updates from Lawrence or anything else, just holler in my ear. I'm here. But we've got there's the storm going toward Cuba and almost to Haddam, Mahaska. This is going to be almost to the Washington County line at this time, and it looks like this is going to be really a long night. We'll see if anything else fires along this line, but this storm is going to be located about 12 miles southwest of Haddam. We've got it another place 16 miles southwest of Morrowville, but a tornado warning for this storm is in progress right now as well. So we encourage you to take your tornado safety precautions in these areas, lowest level of your home, get away from windows, of course, and stay inside as long as the storm is in progress. But northwest Washington County, you are under the tornado warning right now as well. So it's a new one just a few minutes ago being issued, going until 7:30 p.m. It does not include the city of Washington. The city of Lynn is not in this. Lynn was hit a couple of nights ago by a tornado in the middle of the night, of course, a smaller one. But this is the type of tornado that could be much bigger, judging by the one that went through the south side of Lawrence and now is beating its way down the Kansas Turnpike. These storms do have potential to be particularly strong. I am concerned about the one that's in the Wichita area at this point as well, because it is going to make its way northeast. So this might be one we have to deal with later on this evening in the WIBW viewing area. But currently, the storm that's around Wichita. Okay, we have the storm near Wichita right now that has shown some signs of rotation, and that could be a problem in northeast Kansas later this evening. We do have Sean Wheat with an interview in Lawrence. Sean, what do you have?
Guys, we're here currently south of Lawrence at about 3-4 miles south of Lawrence, that little area we showed you a little bit ago. Roger Brown's house is right here. Let me show you the house first. You see that's his house, and it is gone. The roof is gone, a good portion of it's gone, and we are here with Mr. Brown, who just rode this out in his basement. And Mr. Brown, can you just tell us what happened, how long ago did it happen, and are you okay?
First of all, yeah, we're fine. My wife's fine. The animals are fine, and I want to thank all of our friends and family that have been checking on us throughout this, and are on the way over to help, although I don't know what they can do. But it went through very quickly. I was in town at the grocery store. My wife called me and said the alarms were going off, so I hurried home, got in the basement, and we have a safe room underneath the front porch. Thank goodness for that. We were down there and listening to the storm warnings and heard the roof come in and knew that everything upstairs was pretty much gone at that time. So
How were you able to get out if everything had fallen in?
Well, everything in the basement is intact. You know, it's damaged, but it's intact. As far as not being arranged differently, glass broke and that kind of thing, but we were able to climb over things and get out of the basement. We have a walkout basement, so moving stuff out of the doorway and things like that out back to get outside, we were able to do that.
What did you hear? I mean, you were down there, but you heard the roof come in, but what did you hear just before that?
Just glass breaking, you know, things falling off the walls, glass breaking, windows coming in, and then the roof go. We could hear it crash, and I think it was the front door sucked through the house and to the back of the house, and I think that was probably the loudest noise that we heard, and most of the roof leaving.
Now, have you had a chance to check on your neighbors? It looks like your neighbors here a little further to the south took some more damage. Have you had a chance to check on them yet?
Yeah, we've checked all the neighbors in the neighborhood here for about a mile north of here, and everybody seems to be okay. Friends and family are on the way to help everybody, so we'll evidently build again.
Yes. All right, Roger, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were safe. As you can see, folks in this area are still putting stuff. They're putting tarps up. They're trying to get everything assessed. And we know that emergency services was through here earlier. Actually, access to the area we are in is blocked by a tree. We had to do a little bit of off-roading, but we were able to get in and to give you these images. But as you can see here, it's just absolute devastation. And this is just the start. We know of more houses to our south that are damaged. I'm sorry, to our north that are damaged. And it looks like there are even more up to the west and to the east. I'm sorry, I'm a little turned around here, but as you can see, this is just the start of what could potentially be a very heavily damaged community here just south of Lawrence. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Sean. So we do have the tornado warning now in place for the northwest part of Washington County and the eastern sections of Republic County. That is a completely separate storm, and this one has a velocity on it that's showing most likely a tornado along Highway 36 at this time, moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Has been the latest motion on that from the National Weather Service. We'll put it into motion. You can see it's moving to the northeast towards areas like Haddam, and it's going to. It's not reported to be touching down at this time, but it does have a rotation sign showing up on it. It could touch down at any point. So just south of Belleville a few moments ago, a hail zone on this, showing that the core of the highest hail is going to go just north of Belleville, probably in the northwest corner of Washington County, but showing hail that could be 2 inches to up to the size of a tennis ball is what we've got right there with this one. Now, I am also concerned about the storm that's moving close to Wichita right now. I'm concerned about that one because it is rotating and it is moving to the northeast. So I'll go back to composite here. I want to show you that storm, and that one could be one that moves into the WIBW viewing area during the evening hour. So here it is right there just north of Wichita, and putting into motion. We'll loop it right here, and there's the storm. It has does have hail with it, and it does show some signs of rotation as well. Let's check out the velocity on that one. And again, this is one that we may be dealing with here in the WIBW viewing area through the evening hours. So heads up, if you are in Marion, McPherson counties, this is the one right here just north of the city of Wichita, and it's not showing a super tight rotation at this time, but it is showing enough rotation on here that we'll need to watch that one as it gets up into to northeast Kansas. That could become a problem for us here in the WIBW viewing area as well. So again, the big story of the night so far certainly has been this big storm, or big tornado that went across the south side of Lawrence and now is making its way toward the KC Metro. It is almost right on the Kansas Turnpike. So Bonner Springs almost certainly seeing damage right now. The Kansas Speedway, as a matter of fact, is right about here. So to give you an idea of kind of where you're looking at right there, that's it. And you see the storm getting right there by the Speedway at this point. So we got that tornado, confirmed tornado, several times over now, making its way again right along the Kansas Turnpike and getting close to going through Bonner Springs right now from what I can see, and most likely doing a significant amount of damage there with this. So That's how it looks right there along the Kansas Turnpike. Bonner Springs there. Edwardsville is just south of the storm. 435 and I-70, very close to where this is located right now. And that's going to be moving into, certainly into Kansas City, shortly into the metro, if not right now, certainly very, very soon. I'm going to check out another tower camera. This is going to be from right by 430 and I-70. This is the KC Scout camera there, right along the Kansas Turnpike, looking to the west, southwest into the storm. So I can't tell from looking at that picture if it's actually on the ground now, but certainly looks like from radar it most likely is. And again, it's going to be very close to the Kansas Speedway, so a very common landmark. A lot of folks wouldn't know where that's at. So you said prime time's on channel 13, is what you're saying? Okay, so we're putting a primetime programming on 13.2 now as we go continuous with wall-to-wall coverage here with this dangerous situation with confirmed tornadoes touching down and potential to see more tornadoes through the evening. So back on the radar, here's what we have. That's how it looks in the northwest part of Washington County. You still have a tornado warning at this time. The details on that, the tornado warning goes till 7:30 p.m. and it's for Republic and Washington County as well. And the radar showing the rotation on this is going to be located just east of, just right by Cuba at this point, and closing in on Haddam within the next few minutes. So it's going 40 miles per hour to the east-northeast has been the direction of motion on this and the speed. So we're looking at arriving in Haddam 7:23 p.m. and North Central High School is in the path of that. And I always put these schools on here not because the kids are in school necessarily. They're not right now. It could be sporting events or those kind of things, but it's also a good landmark because even folks that don't know what county they live in do know the closest school to them. So I put a lot of those things in there, like the churches and schools, as a good landmark so people know right where these things are. But looking at that right near Cuba at this time, we'll see if there's any debris flying from this. I don't see any sign of debris on this from the correlation coefficient, but certainly if you're in Haddam, Mahaska, Cuba, in these areas, you need to be taking cover right now, as that's a very dangerous storm with a strong sign of rotation, and it really could touch down any time. Again, we have a tornado watch for almost all of northeast Kansas that goes until 10 o'clock this evening, and certainly warrants it with the conditions that are going on right now. We have that damaging storm moving into Kansas City now, also another one just north of Wichita, and then the only severe storm warning or anything that's severe right now in the WIBW viewing area is this one that's in the northwest part of Washington County. That's the one that we consider to be in our DMA as our coverage area. So, but we're concerned about the folks in Kansas City, obviously. I'm concerned about the one going by Wichita because it's coming northeast and likely to affect a big chunk of the WIBW viewing area. And then, of course, northwestern Washington County, we're paying close attention to you guys up there as well. Now, back on the wider version of the radar, this is the composite. This takes in all the radar data from around the Midwest, around the area, and puts them together. I'm going to loop this and show you kind of the bigger picture of what's going on here. Zooming out, you'll see that the storms aren't all in one organized line. There are several clusters of storms in different spots, and what are happening, they're all becoming very, very nasty. But the one through Kansas City has a history of a big tornado. This cluster has a history of producing tornadoes. We have tornado warnings near Hayes at this point, and the storms in the Wichita area have been showing signs of rotation. This stuff has a highest chance of making its way into northeast Kansas and being a problem for us, and we could be several hours away from this being over with. There's no reason to believe this is going to fall apart in the next few minutes by any means. The dynamics that are driving this, or the jet stream winds aloft, are not going to weaken in the next few hours, and the down for a while. I've got sunset that's after 8:30 this evening, so it's going to be a while before this really falls apart. But that stuff in Wichita, Council Grove, Emporia, heads up. That stuff around Wichita could be a problem for you within the next 90 minutes or maybe even sooner. And then around Kansas City, of course, that monster storm ongoing, and then this tornado warning for the Mahaska and Haddam area going until 7:30. Peyton, what do you have?
All right, yeah, just want to get you back updated here on the tornado warning that we have, including Republic and Washington counties. Watching the circulation now, it looks like it's crossing right over Highway 36. Here's Highway 36 here. We also did get some reports of hail with this storm. Let's see, that was 1.5-inch hail, so some half-dollar size hail with that thunderstorm, or ping pong ball size hail rather, with that storm moving to the east. So the area of circulation is crossing Highway 36 right now. So if you're in the northwestern section of Washington County, Haddam, you want to be in your tornado shelters right now. Cuba, if you're watching us from eastern Republic County, you need to be in your storm shelters right now. If we look at the rotation here on radar, we still have an area of circulation right near Cuba and moving to the northeast. So if you're in Haddam, the northwest sections of Washington County, you need to be in your tornado shelters at this time. That storm, the rotation not nearly as strong as what we had in Lawrence, but still plenty of circulation there, and you need to be in your storm shelters. As Jeremy has been mentioning, we do have additional thunderstorms developing, severe thunderstorms in the Wichita area right now. There is a cold front right near the I-135 corridor that's just been stalled, and I've been looking on the satellite picture. We do have some additional, those are the storms developing and moving to the northeast, and the environment is going to continue to favor storms with large hail potential, also tornadoes with these storms. So we're not done yet. You want to stay with us for the latest coverage as we move on here through the next few hours. So I understand we have Sean Wheat ready to go once again in Lawrence. Again, if you're just joining our coverage tonight, south of K10, we had a damaging tornado, the far south part of Lawrence and just on the far south side of town with damage to homes. So let's go to Sean Wheat now with the latest.
All right, we are here still in this little subdivision of Lawrence, just south of Lawrence by 4 miles, and we are across the street from the house we showed you just a little bit ago. We're with George Grebe. And George, you're looking at your home right behind you here. It took a direct hit. Are you guys okay?
Yeah, everyone's safe, but the house took a direct hit, and it's probably a total loss. Yeah.
Well, tell us, when we were up here on the highway, we saw folks, your family coming out of the basement, out of the home. Everybody's okay?
Everybody's safe, yeah.
And so what happened? Just give us a little bit of a timeline of how things occurred.
Well, we were just paying attention to the news because we knew that there was watches and warnings in the area, and so we went down in the basement about 10 to 6 and just tracked it on the news until it got south of, just north of us. And then, we saw it coming. We could hear it, and we took cover in the corner of the basement by the concrete wall, and we could just hear it and took a direct hit.
When it started to hit that direct hit, what did you hear?
Well, like everybody says, it was like a train, and just the house kind of started to pulse a little bit, and then we heard the upstairs just blow up, and water started rushing in from up above.
How many people were with you?
Well, Tuesdays is family dinner night, so we had everybody at the house except George Jr., so there was 8 of us that was in the basement, including a grandbaby, so we're very grateful that we're all safe.
What do you do now?
Call my insurance agent, find a place to sleep tonight.
We're so glad you're okay. Thank you so much. All right, so as you could tell, folks, the damage continuing. If everybody, is George here to making an assessment of the damage here, and we're going to continue to talk to these folks in this neighborhood, and we've got more areas to look at. This is just the start of the damage here south of Lawrence. Back to you in studio.
All right, thank you, Sean. So that was a storm that popped up just east of Emporia hours ago and went just south and east of Osage City, did a lot of damage on the south side of Lawrence, and now is almost right over the Kansas Speedway. We'll have to see if there's damage there, but this thing is moving into an area that is highly populated, and the report is that it is still on the ground doing damage. Emergency management over there says on the ground, and Weather Service tornado warning says you are in a life risk situation over there. So big tornado still moving into the Kansas City area right now, very close to the Kansas Turnpike, and just almost right over the Kansas Speedway at this time, if you know that landmark. So northwest part of Washington County, you have a tornado warning in place right now. This will be close to Haddam at this time, close to Morrowville. Morrowville, you're a couple of miles away from this, but the rotation on that showing up just to the west of the town of Haddam. You should be taking cover right now if you are in Haddam. If you're in Morrowville, take cover too. Mahaska, awfully close to the storm as well.
This is a delayed report, but at 7 o'clock we had a report of a funnel cloud. It did not touch down, but that was earlier when that storm was a little bit closer to Belleville. That's not going to show up. They didn't put it in on LSR yet, but that's just the latest report. But that was 15 minutes ago now.
Thank you, Peyton. So it does have a history of a funnel cloud a few minutes ago, but now it's almost right on top of Haddam, and Morrowville is going to be close to you as well. So there's the rotation. As I push a little farther over, it switches to the Topeka radar, and you can see it a little better with this version. But Haddam, Morrowville, this is really right on top of you. The motion on this has been taking it to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So Haddam is getting awfully close to you, if not in Haddam right now. So let's take the time of arrival here. A little farther to the south, you got Washington County State Park, 7:36 p.m. Washington, if it curves a little to the right, they haven't been turning right much so far today, but could. 7:42 actually, the time of arrival there. And then to the north there, you got Morrowville in the path as well. So that storm is a very dangerous storm in the northwest part of Washington County coming out of Republic County, has a history of at least producing funnel clouds, and it does have a tornado warning going until 7:30 with that storm. Back over on the reflectivity on this, you'll see the storm has the hook there. It's not a classic hook, but embedded supercells like this, sometimes you can't see them as well. So we do have several areas of storms going on right now, but a large part of the area is dry at this point across northeast Kansas, and that means we're getting some sunshine in here. It's still keeping things warm across the area for the evening. So that means we're not, if we got a widespread area of rain, it tends to cool things down and give us a chance for some of the stuff to fall apart. But you can see now, looking outside live in Topeka, that's our tower camera on Menninger Hill. You can see we still have plenty of sunshine in place now, so that's going to keep things warm through the evening, as sunset isn't until after 8:30. So we're very likely to see plenty of fuel in the atmosphere, energy for this, for more storms keep going through the evening hours. So we have the tornado watch going until 10 o'clock, and most likely will be every bit of that, if not later, before we see this threat subside. There's a view from the Cyrus Hotel in downtown Topeka, also seeing plenty of sunshine outside and keeping things warm and humid. The view from Manhattan, look, plenty of sunshine out there breaking through a layer of clouds. And until we get this atmosphere to cool down a bit.
Go southwest on that one. We've got something popping up south of Abilene. I'm watching that one on satellite too. It's been trying to go for about 30 minutes, but it's getting a little bit more vertical development now. You can kind of see there on the left-hand side of that picture there. That's potentially a new storm that we're going to have to watch going up there to the south of Abilene. So we'll see how that develops. But again, as Jeremy's been mentioning too, it's right along the cold front that's been stalled out over central Kansas. So we're going to have to watch that one. The storm northeast of Wichita is also a strong storm that we'll have to watch, and all moving to the northeast.
All right, so Peyton mentioning the storm clouds building near Abilene. It could be in that shot right there to the west-southwest of Manhattan. So, and this is what we've expected really much of the day, is we would see some storms initially, and then the thinking was that this area here was going to be isolated supercells. So what's going on right there from Wichita to almost Abilene up to the Concordia area and into northwestern Washington now, this was well picked up on the models. The activity to the east certainly was indicated as well, but this is the area we really expect to see this filling in over the next few hours with more storms, and probably then becoming one long line after the sun goes down and producing kind of a widespread area of severe weather. So most likely we're going to be a few hours before this all really gets out of here. All right, so that's what we have there on the radar now, kind of a wider look, seeing storms popping up now, isolated fashion here in the southeast part of Marshall County, approaching Baileyville, and then this one near Abilene that Peyton just mentioned. We'll have to watch that one closely as well. It is intensifying, making its way to the northeast, and could affect areas like Clay Center, maybe Randolph and Riley, and that one will bear watching as well, as these storms have had a history of being very damaging and dangerous this evening for certain. So that's what we'll be watching. To the south, this has been extended as well. We've got the severe storm warning that's coming up into Chase County now. That storm popping up near Wichita, and most likely that one's going to move north into the WIBW viewing area. And I can see right there.
That one had a brief funnel reported with it.
I can see a hook with it as well popping up now. At least, yeah, there it is. All right, so on the velocity mode here, we'll pop that up and see what we've got. So just northeast of Wichita. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's making its way up into parts of Marion and Chase County involved in that one as well now. So that could be a problem for zooming out. When you look at the Topeka radar, has a rotation on it better than the imported radar, which is unusual, but that's spinning. That thing near Wichita is spinning, and it is moving northeast. So Emporia, Council Grove, heads up. That's one you may be having to deal with shortly. That's one we have to deal with as well. It's going to make its way northeast. There's really no reason to believe that one's going to fall apart as it makes its way northeast. It's in the same environment that created that big tornado for Lawrence just a little while ago, and now it's doing damage around Kansas City. So we got Chase, Harvey, Marion, Butler all on a severe storm warning until 8:15, and then I'm confident that storm will hold together past 8:15 and be a problem in Morris and Lyon counties, if not 8:15, maybe a little sooner than that. So that's one we have to pay attention to as well. So we also have the storms popping up in the southeast part of Marshall County, one near Abilene. Those aren't severe yet, but certainly could become severe. And then this one that's moving in the northwest part of Washington County, this is a tornado warning. Has the hook echo showing up very close to Haddam at this time. There's all kinds of rotating storms today. So there it is, a well-defined spin showing up on the radar. Here's another one, a little spin showing up just northeast of Concordia, a little farther south on that same storm. And check the reflectivity and see what it looks like there. That could do it too. So this is the likely tornado over Haddam or close to you. If you're in Haddam, you got to take cover right now. That's a very dangerous storm for you. This one over the northeast part of Cloud County has no warning at this time, but it looks like it's trying to spin. So we'll have to watch that one. It could be another warning in a few minutes. But the northwest part of Washington County, you are in a tornado warning. Haddam, Morrowville, Mahaska, you should be taking cover in all these towns right now. And again, it's Doppler radar indicated from what reports I have at this point. But northwest Washington County until 7:30, you are in that tornado warning. We'll put it into motion and see where it's going. So Morrowville, Hollenberg. Hollenberg's in the path of this as well. So we'll go back out to the home view here and look at the bigger situation. I'm going to check out the tornado that's in Kansas City now and see if it's still doing damage or if it's taking any sort of, if it's weakening at all. So there's what we have right there. Still looks like it doesn't look as powerful as it did on the radar a few minutes ago, but the north side of Kansas City looks like that rotation is moving in. You can see what I mean by its weakening, at least on radar. It's not as bright as it was a few moments ago on the radars that went past Lawrence and through the Kansas Speedway. So we've got Doug and Melissa. What do you guys have over there?
Yeah.
Go to them first or go to, okay, this is storm damage west of Eudora.
And I can add, Jeremy, if you'd like. I just got off the phone with Jillian Rodriguez. She is the Assistant Director of Douglas County Emergency Management. This is one area here that they are still assessing. This is, we're told, west of Eudora, where Eric Ives is. I do have my microphone on, guys. So the storm from Douglas County Emergency Management, number one, they want everyone to know at this point in time, stay out of these storm areas. Emergency crews need to travel right now. They need to be getting into these areas, assessing the damage. This is kind of where this storm left Douglas County. What Jillian Rodriguez told me was that it hit north, south of Lawrence, north of the Pleasant Grove area. That's the damage Sean Wheat was showing us earlier. That's where they have the homes damaged. It then kind of stayed along the Wakarusa River, made its way northeast on the south edge of Lawrence toward Eudora, and that's the area that you are looking at here. Again, Douglas County Emergency Management, you can see the sirens. They're just getting into the Eudora area to assess the damage there. But along that track from north of the Pleasant Grove area to Eudora, at this point in time, emergency crews are conducting several rescues from homes where there are people in homes that have suffered some serious damage. At this point in time, we're told they have no reports of any injuries. However, until they get into these damage areas and get into the houses and make sure everyone is out, they can't say for sure whether someone might be injured in any of those homes. The Lawrence police chief just checked in with emergency management and said that the KU campus is fine. No damage there. They have had some street flooding from the rains that came through along with the damage. And at this point in time, the Red Cross is on its way to the Emergency Operations Center in Douglas County, if they're not there already, to work on setting up shelters for folks who don't have a place to go. I know that a lot of people have friends and family who were affected by the storms and are trying to get in to try and help them out. What Jillian said is at this point in time, they ask people to just simply, the best thing that you can do to help them at this point, while emergency officials get in and do the work that they need to do, is text them information and keep them informed. They really need any extra folks to just stay out of these areas, because as you saw, there was a power line down there. There are more than 5,000 people, I believe at last check, without power at this point in time. So Westar crews, emergency crews need to get in there, make sure that the power lines aren't a danger to folks. And as you see, a lot of debris across the roads. Actually, KDOT posted that Highway 59 south of Lawrence, headed into that area where the damage that Sean Wheat was showing us earlier is. They have closed that portion of the highway right now, partly because there's a vehicle across it, but also because, again, Douglas County Emergency Management asking people to stay out of the damaged areas. We'll be keeping in touch with them and letting you know any updates that we have from Douglas County Emergency Management as the evening goes on.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So here's what we have on radar now. We have the tornado warning for the northwest parts of Washington County. That one's still Doppler radar indicated. And then to the south, the storm that's moving into Chase County and Marion County. This is going to be a major storm in the next few minutes as well. Now, looking outside, I want you to see there's still plenty of sunshine out there. So these storms haven't done what you see many times where we have a burst of storms. It rains everywhere, it gets cooler. This is not that night. These storms are isolated. They're not clouding up the sky everywhere, and they're not cooling everything down. So looking outside from Manhattan now, plenty of sunshine out there, and the temperature in Manhattan is still 8 degrees as of now. We're getting late in the evening for that warm, but 82, while Marysville is 66. So we have the warm front right there, and then to the west, we actually have the dry line and cold fronts that are still located in central Kansas. I'll pan it over that direction. You can see Hutchinson is still at 84, Hayes is 66, and this where the winds are shifting right there, that is where we're seeing the storms fire that are close to Abilene, close to Wichita, and up in parts of Republic and Washington County right now. So that line is likely to see more storms developing, and the ingredients for them to become severe or even tornadic certainly exist in those. So the storm going into Chase and Marion counties right now, I'm very concerned about that storm becoming a rotating supercell and becoming a tornado warning or worse in our area. The high-resolution visible satellite can see that supercell rolling into Kansas City. As the sun gets lower in the sky, it gets darker, but you can also see the shadows upstream from this supercell. It's moving just northeast of Wichita right now. It lets you know that it's tall. You can see the updraft right there bubbling up, and then a crust storm here across Republic County, the northwest part of Washington County. You see kind of the same dynamics there. And on the surface, everything in this brighter green line there, that represents where dew points are at least 70 or higher. And I've got the winds on here as well. So anything north of this, that's a warm frontal boundary. Anything to the west of this, Abilene and Salina, that's kind of the dry line cold front where it's really getting in. So either one of those boundaries are threats to produce supercells, tornadoes. We've got them both kind of parked across our area right now. Certainly that's a bad one that ripped across Lawrence and is headed through the Kansas Speedway area in the last few minutes. That's one that's along that boundary as well. But I really think that stuff that's firing along this boundary from near Haddam to Abilene to Wichita, I think all that stuff will stay dangerous all the way through the evening hours. Tornado watch goes till 10. Peyton, what do you got?
All right, I want to get you updated here on the tornado warning there for northwestern sections of Washington County. Set to go till 7:30. We're going to wait the word here from the National Weather Service and see if they're going to issue a new tornado warning here momentarily. It's worth noting with that storm down near Wichita, we've been having a report of wall cloud and a funnel cloud with it. So we're going to have to watch that storm. It is rotating, and the environment is going to continue to favor that tornado risk, especially as we're getting past 7 o'clock this evening. Once we get past closer to sunset, you see the winds in the lower part of the atmosphere start to increase a little bit most of the time, and that could increase the tornado potential. So we're going to just have to keep a very close eye on that storm. Still waiting word here from the National Weather Service on what they're going to do with this storm into the northwest
There we
part of
go.
Washington
Just got
County.
issued until 8 o'clock.
Okay, new tornado warning until 8 o'clock. So this threat is, and that made sense based on radar because we're still looking at the area of circulation very near Haddam, and this is continuing to move in an easterly direction. So places like Hollenberg, the northern sections of Washington County are in this tornado warning. I do want to put radar in motion here, and it's close to Washington. Washington is not, the town of Washington is officially not included within the tornado warning. Based on the track so far, it is taking more of a northeasterly movement. So if you're in the northern sections of Washington County, this is going to be getting close to State Highway 15 into the northern sections of Washington County. You want to go ahead and take your tornado precautions. Hollenberg, Haddam, you want to still be in your tornado shelters. But Hollenberg and the northern sections of Washington County now under a tornado warning until 8 o'clock. So another 30 minutes on that storm. Again, it has not let up on its rotation either. And again, that storm moving to the northeast around 35 miles per hour. I got to switch back over here to the Topeka radar site. Now let's take an area-wide view. Again, if you're just joining our coverage tonight, we've been on the air for quite a while now, since just past 4:30. We had a damaging tornado. It went south of Lawrence, to the south of K-10 highway by about 3 or 4 miles, but there were some houses there in the southern part of Douglas County that were damaged from this tornado. It had a very strong area of rotation. It was the storm of the day, if you will. It's been the strongest so far, and we're not done yet, but that storm did produce some damage. That was after the 6 o'clock hour. That was after about 6:10. So that was that storm that is now moving out into the Kansas City area. Let's see. Coming here from the Weather Service. They've extended the tornado warning there for Washington County. They've only had the one report of the funnel cloud earlier when it was around Belleville, and that was quite a while ago now. But there is still a boundary within the area, and that is why they are continuing this tornado warning for the northwest part of Washington County. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning. Marion, Harvey, Butler, Chase County. That storm is moving northeast. So here's Emporia, White City, Council Grove. We need to be watching that one. We also need to watch what's going up here around Abilene. These storms have been struggling a little bit more because we did have some storms in this area earlier today, but we will have to keep an eye on those storms and see if they continue to develop. There's a storm that went through Lawrence, now tracking over the northern part of Kansas City. Looks like north of I-70, but that storm we're going to have to watch. And of course, we still have the tornado warning again now for northwest and the far northern sections of Washington County until 8 o'clock. Again, based on its current track, it looks like it's going to go north of the town of Washington, but definitely if you're in Washington, want to monitor the situation with us here carefully. So that's our latest, again, tornado warning until 8 o'clock. Jeremy?
All right, thanks, Peyton. So we're watching, this is going to be the next show. From what I'm seeing here, this thing is north of Wichita, making its way into the southeast part of Marion, southwest part of Chase County. So that storm is a severe storm warning right now, making its way northeast. We'll check the velocity on this. It has had some spin with it. We've had funnel clouds reported with it. We've got the bright red and the bright green showing up right beside each other on this. It's making its way to the northeast. So we'll be watching that one as it gets closer to Cottonwood Falls, Strong City. Ultimately, Emporia is going to have to deal with this one. So right now, Emporia is kind of in between storms, but from Emporia, if we look southwest, this is to the southwest. You can see the storm clouds there on the horizon. It's going to be coming really right at you. It'll take maybe an hour and a half to arrive, but if you're in Emporia, heads up. That thing that went by Neosho Rapids a little while ago, that was kind of the beginning, and now that did the tornado damage around Lawrence and heading into Kansas City. I don't know if this is going to be as bad, but it's in the same environment, taking a very similar path, and it's even warmer now than it was earlier in the evening. So we're not going to take our eye off that thing coming across the southwest part of Chase and the southeast part of Marion County at all, not in this environment at all. This is a very dangerous storm. The position of it right now is a severe storm warning. I'm telling you, the position of that, the time of day, the direction it's going, that is going to be a big problem for us within the next probably 30 to 45 minutes. I think we'll start seeing that move into Chase County, and probably a tornado warning by that time. And I can't imagine any reason for it not to stay strong for a while. So I don't want to oversell what I'm seeing there, but I'm telling you that storm, the position it's in, that's what we've got in this environment. It's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be a while before we can kind of forget that one's going on. So zooming back out on the radar across the area, big supercell on the north side of Kansas City. That one's going to make headlines everywhere, I'm sure, very shortly, probably around the world, as a matter of fact. And zooming in more closely here in the northwest part of Washington County. This is the tornado warning we have now going until 8 p.m. We have a tornado watch until 10 p.m. for most of the area, but the tornado warning is right here just southwest of Hollenberg, and this is going to be just a of the Nebraska line at this point, heading for areas like Steel City, Nebraska. Diller will be affected by this. Morrowville looks like it's just to your north, so hopefully Morrowville, this will just move by you. But if you're up there in the Hollenberg area, you need to take cover right now. So that's Doppler radar indicated. The storm that hit Lawrence earlier was Doppler radar indicated, then confirmed on the ground, and a big tornado. And Sean Wheat has an interview from Lawrence live right now.
Well, we just talked to some firefighters who are going through this neighborhood. They were talking to the neighbors here. Let's give you a shot of what some of the damage is here. That is a garage, and if you just look over here, the house that garage was associated with is completely unscathed, or it looks like it from the front. Now, we were talking to those firefighters. They have said that this area south of Lawrence, about 4 miles, is the area that took the most direct impact from the tornado. They are checking these homes door to door and told us that so far there have been no injuries. So again, that's great news. The folks that we've talked to so far have said they took shelter. They knew it was coming. They were watching the news. They took the precautions of getting into their basement, and each one of them has lived to tell that story, which is exactly why we are so adamant about this. So again, we just talked to fire officials here. They say no injuries here in this neighborhood. We're still going door to door ourselves and talking to the neighbors. We'll have full updates here for you in just a little bit. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Sean. So we're looking at now the area that I'm concerned about working its way into Chase and Emporia, Chase County and Lyon County. The next hour or so is this one. We have a severe storm warning for this storm cell, and you can see the rotation on that already starting to show up. But there's a spin right about there, just off the Kansas Turnpike. 8:15, severe storm warning for Butler, Chase, Harvey, and Marion counties. Again, keep an eye on this one. That's the one that's going to be making its way northeastward. And for the time of the day and as much sunshine as we still have outside and as warm and as humid as it is, Topeka's still in the low 80s. Manhattan in the mid 80s right now. Dew points are close to 70 degrees. And the jet stream winds aloft are just screaming. We've got May weather, and something that anytime in May you have conditions like this, you almost always have tornadoes unless something unusual or miraculous happens to make them go away. But we also have more storm cells beginning to pop up in areas like near Seneca, near Baileyville, seeing some rain. Abilene is a storm just north of you. But these storm cells, we've got to watch all of them in this environment. In most cases, you'll see one of them become strong and dominant and pull the other smaller ones in. That might be what happens here. But I can tell you right now, this is not sustainable. We're not going to see 5 or 6 of these little storms like this just kind of hanging out doing their own thing right now. These will become 1 or 2 big storms, or maybe a cluster of storms, and you can be sure this stuff will turn into something damaging or at least severe within the next half hour or so. So I'll put this into motion and loop this, and you'll see that going back to 7 o'clock, there was none of that. But now you've got this cluster of storms near Seneca, almost to Westmoreland, a little storm near Abilene, and then storms popping up down into parts of Marion County. And that This appears to be along the leading edge of that, where the less humid air is starting to work its way in. But we could have in the line of storms behind that. We've got the tornado warnings that were issued earlier for the Hayes area with the next cold front that's moving in. There's just several waves of this are coming through. But this stuff that's popping up near eastern Marshall County, Pottawatomie County, and near Abilene now, all that stuff has potential to become severe and do so rapidly. So let's go ahead and
Jeremy,
check
I
out.
just want to mention, just look at that picture. Be a meteorologist. Figure out when storms will develop in your area. You know, we get a lot of that on social media. When are we going to get storms? Where are the storms going? And here's a perfect example of they just pop up at any time. And Jeremy, if you want to just put that into motion there on the big screen here, these storms just popped up randomly. You have no idea where they're popping up. You have no idea where they're going to go. And this is a perfect example why we don't really like giving specific locations several hours in advance of when storms are going to reach your area. We can give a general time frame of when storms could be in the area, but this is a perfect example looking at these storms as they just pop up randomly just in the last 15-20 minutes that they're moving up to the north and east. So it just gives you kind of idea of kind of what we're seeing, and it's very hard to forecast where storms are going to be developing at a particular time and location.
That's true. So we got it'd be impossible to say Seneca. Say this morning that Seneca is going to rain at 7:41 p.m. We just know kind of the general area where stuff can pop up. So we knew this feature would be approximately from Clay Center to Wichita at 7:45. But to say that the storm's going to be exactly going to spot them there, certainly very, very difficult. So what I do want to show you is along this line, there's one of the tower cameras here near Manhattan. And I've got the, there we go, now it's coming up. That's the view from Manhattan now. So we're looking to the west, and I can see there's an updraft tower kind of on this side of your screen right over here. But we're seeing more of those storms beginning to pop up. And again, this day didn't cool down quickly. We didn't see a widespread area of rain develop and then cool everything down, make the atmosphere stable. So it's a safer evening. Instead, we've got isolated storm cells, and more of them really starting to build up right now out there from what I'm seeing on the tower cameras. So we're going to have to watch really all of these throughout the evening as there are more storm towers that are popping up to the west and south of Manhattan. There's one, and I can see it very well. It's kind of the right side of the tower, if you will, the north side. So this is looking, I believe this would be toward the Abilene storm. So what I see right there, vertical tower, and there's the anvil. So you've got the storm cell, not to a severe storm warning state yet, but there it is. You've got it going up to 50,000 feet or close to it, and now a new tornado warning.
All right, Jeremy, we've got a brand new tornado warning there for Washington County.
Okay.
8:15.
8:15 is the tornado warning expiration time, and this is, I showed this a few minutes ago, it looked like a second rotation showing up south of the one that was up near Haddam. So this is it now. We've got the 8 o'clock expiration time for the storm that's near Hollenberg right now. We have 8:15 for this new tornado warning on the southern part of that. And sometimes you will see this where you have a second storm, a second tornado warning issued just south of the first one in many cases. So let's check out the velocity on this and see where it's going. It's across the southwest part of Washington County now. Doppler radar indicated, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, Doppler radar indicated, and the location of this is going to be just southwest of the town of Washington. So the first warning didn't include the town of Washington. This one certainly does. So that's it right there. The location on that's going to be a couple of miles south of the city of Washington itself. Let me zoom this out, and we'll get a distance here and then a time of arrival. So we've got the distance on this. It's going to be located about, let's see, we've got 10 miles southwest of Washington as the distance. And how about the forward speed? What do they have on it?
45.
45 miles per hour. So Hanover, you're in the path of this as well. I'll check which radar is picking up the color on this a little better. That's the Hastings radar. I'll walk it back over here, and that's the Hastings radar. So the Speaker radar has the best look at it. So let's do the velocity, the speed on that. Forward at 45 miles per hour. So if we take it up toward Washington, the city of Washington itself, we're looking at an arrival time of roughly 6:50. What time do we have? 7:57. I'm not sure why it kicks out Washington like it's in another time zone. Maybe that's the error on my computer there.
Yeah, that happens before.
It doesn't like the. It doesn't like that. I'm gonna have to fix that. So Washington, I apologize. I really apologize. I will fix that as soon as we're done with this outbreak. It's ongoing today. But 7:57 in Washington. Washington County Veterans Memorial looks like they're at 755, Greenleaf 8, and Barnes at 808. And if it turns a little farther to the southeast, be looking at arriving in Barnes at 8:09 p.m. So that's the southern part of the storm. The northern part is still rotating as well. And will one of you guys make a physical note? Will you write, Doug, you're close to a pen, will you write down for me to change Washington's time? I don't know why there's an error in the software kicking that as a wrong time zone. It's got to be what it is, but it did it to me twice, and so it's not a rare thing. I better make sure that's fixed immediately. All right, so here's what we have. The northern storm near Hollenberg right now has rotation right there. If you're in Hollenberg, you need to take cover immediately. That storm has a strong rotation to it, moving toward Hollenberg. Its Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. And then to the south, we have the other storm here, almost to Lynn, very close to Lynn, where we had a tornado touchdown just a few nights ago and do some damage in town.
We actually do have a National Weather Service meteorologist just south of Washington, so he's going to let us know if he sees anything.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on the chat here.
Okay. So we have a Weather Service meteorologist who's just south of Washington watching that, so that's good. And mentioned that this severe storm warning just issued for the storm we were looking at a few minutes ago from the tower camera for the Gary County and also Dickinson County. And I'll take you back over to the camera, look at it again. We can see that supercell developing very well now. Again, this is looking to the southwest from Manhattan. That's from the Flint Hills Discovery Center, and that is a very well-defined updraft and a very solid anvil, and that is just getting going. When you've got it in this state like this, it hasn't clouded up the whole sky with the anvil. In many cases, what will happen, but there it is. That's what some people call the fist of God, and when it goes just straight vertical like that, and the anvil, once it gets up high enough that the cloud can't rise anymore, it spreads out the top, and you get the anvil shape just like that. And that storm is coming toward the camera, toward not directly toward Manhattan, but northeast, and certainly you're going to see some more warnings out of that. Here's another one. We've got a new warning now for the northern part of Gary County and the western part of Riley and southeast Clay County, and almost all of Dickinson County in warning now. So a few minutes ago, we had just the corner of Washington and the WIBW DMA that was in a tornado warning, and now this is what we expected to see. I expected to see some storms that had a line, but this is what I was worried about last night when I tried to go to sleep, was this thing happening. The stuff that happened earlier, that was a maybe. This was a certainty, and this is what you know, keeps us you know, short on sleep this time of year, is that thing. So this is coming. I mean, the storm that came through earlier didn't stabilize the atmosphere at all. Now we've got a line of supercells, one that's in Chase and Marion County, another one here in Dickinson County, south of Abilene, severe storm warning. Another one a few miles west of Junction City now. Another storm up here that's near Lynn, Kansas, with a tornado warning. So we've got 4 distinct supercells now, and then more stuff popping up near
Jeremy,
Seneca.
thankfully they're all 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. They're not really significant like we were thinking earlier. That doesn't mean they can't continue to grow, but really the worst is the ping-pong ball-size hail with the tornado warning in Washington County. Otherwise, yeah, all these severe thunderstorm warnings are in the 60-mile-per-hour range and quarter-sized hail. Earlier today, it looked like we were going to get significant hail, some very large hail, even maybe some tennis ball-sized hail. That hasn't been the case yet. We'll see what happens as they continue to develop here over the next 30 to 60 minutes or so to see if they can strengthen. But that's the good news. That's the silver lining. But again, that's coming with some heavy rain and a lot of lightning and some significant storms with that. And then we got a new one. We got Clay and Riley that's going to show up there. So now we got the whole line going down from Washington all the way down towards Abilene with those severe thunderstorm warnings within those storms for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. And looking at all of them, they expire at 8:30 with those severe thunderstorm warnings.
All right, so we have a line of severe storm cells now. So if you're in Manhattan, get ready. This thing that's popping up or developed now just south of Abilene, 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail the size of quarters potential right now. We have the next severe storm cell just west of Junction City, another one just south of Clay Center at this time. So let's go down the line. I'll mention that these storms are not likely to weaken anytime soon. It's going to be a while, and they could even start to intensify. So to the north, we've got a tornado warning that includes the town of Washington, includes Lynn, You're in this right now. Greenleaf, Barnes, Lynn, you should be taking cover in all these towns right now as there is a tornado warning that is in place for you. On the velocity mode here, you can see the spin just southwest of the town of Washington, maybe 5 miles at this point, but it is a Doppler radar indicated rotation. So about 5 miles southwest of Washington. I encourage you in this area, Greenleaf, Washington, Lynn, please take cover right now with that storm as it's moving very close to Washington, Lynn, Greenleaf at this point. So zooming back out, we'll take it out and go down the line. We have the storm that's near Clay Center at this time as well. It is considered to be severe, hail the size of quarters, winds to 60 a possibility with this one. And it looks like it's moving to the northeast, going to be across the northern part of Riley County. So this is where you can get some confusion sometimes because Riley County has 2 different severe storm warnings. Both have an expiration time of 8:30 p.m. So it's this one right here, just south of Clay Center, and that one, we'll see if it's got any spin at all to it on the radar, and hopefully not. I don't see anything spinning there yet, but certainly we'll have to watch it and see if it does develop its characteristics. That's going to move toward Leonard, Randolph. Riley is not quite in the path of that one, and then to the south, this storm, just west of Fort Riley and Junction City is also severe, hail the size of quarters, winds to 60, the primary threat at this time. So zooming in, it's going to go over Milford Lake in the next few minutes. Wakefield in the path of this as well. Did I hear a whistle? Or
yeah, it sounded like a siren outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard a siren outside.
There's also a continuation of the tornado warning in Washington, so that may have been one of the computers here doing the update.
When I hear that sound, that always concerns me, so that's what that was. All right, so south of Abilene now, this storm is severe. They head toward Chapman. That will head toward Junction City and Manhattan. So in the next hour, Manhattan, Junction City, and Fort Riley, you'll be dealing with this storm. The one that's near Wichita down here is edging into the southwest part of Chase County and southeast Marion County right now. That one has the most potential from what I see to become tornadic, and I think Lyon County needs to be watching that one very closely. Council Grove, you should be watching that one very closely as well, but Allen, Admire, Council Grove, White, even Eskridge and Osage City, you should have a great interest in that storm that's moving into southwest Chase County. I can tell you that. So we'll stay right here, of course, and cover it, but I encourage you to stay with us as we do this. We did mention earlier that CBS primetime programming has been moved over to 13:2 on MyTV. Of course, when we have tornadoes and dangerous storms in the area, we'll do continuous coverage, and this is just one of those nights where that's going to be a necessity for much of the evening, and it's at least going to be several hours. We have the tornado warning for southern Washington County going until all the way up until 8:30, but then after that...
8:15.
8:15.
Yep.
Okay, 8:15. But we're going to have to watch these other storms as well. That one that's moving in the southwest part of Chase County in the next few minutes here is the one that's that really got my eye. I'm not saying we're not looking at any of them, but I'm watching that one very, very close. That's the view again. I can fix that. That's the view from Manhattan, actually, first. I've got the wrong banner across the top of that, but that's the view from Manhattan. Now, this is the view from Emporia looking southeast along the Kansas Turnpike, and you can see the storms lined up there off to the southwest. You can see some sunshine peeking, but certainly the storm is going to come very close to that camera. And then from Manhattan now, that's the view looking toward the storm that's approaching Manhattan from the southwest, and that might be the one that's closer to Fort Riley and Junction City. Probably is, but the storm cells there, you can see the line of them beginning to develop now, and these will be overspreading northeast Kansas through the evening. Now looking west from Topeka, you can see the supercells on the horizon. That's a live look from Menninger Hill, our Capitol Federal Sky Cam on the west side of town right now. I'm going to go ahead and pan that camera around so you can kind of see what the sky looks like here in the capital city. But that's the supercell that's close to Clay Center most likely. And then going around a little farther to the left, see if you see the other storm towers in the horizon. But you can see these for a long way. and that's an anvil cloud there looking to the south. I can't tell which storm that would be from, but looking to the straight west-northwest from the TV station, you can see there's a tower right there, and there's another one just behind the transmission tower. And there's another one there that's going to be the one that's most likely over over Washington County. But you can see the line of supercells that are getting going there, and any one of these. Okay, there's a new severe storm warning coming in. That's something I'd mentioned a few minutes ago. Could be the case is that one near Seneca, is approaching Seneca, could become one. So now we have a new severe storm warning there. This is going to include Seneca, Centralia is going to be involved in that. And the warning time on this, 8:45. All right, so 8:45 p.m. for the expiration time on this. Quarter-size hail and winds to 60 miles per hour. Peyton, what do you have?
All right, let's get you back over here to the tornado warning here in Washington County real quick. Still a tornado warning until 8:15. That's the southernmost polygon. If you're in Washington, you need to be in your storm shelter right now. Really what it's looking like is we have two areas of rotation still. One's going to be very near or just to the south of Washington, and then another, it's kind of a noisy data here, if you will, up towards Hollenberg. But I'd say anywhere along this line from Palmer through Lynn, Washington, Hollenberg, you need to be in your storm shelter. And Hanover, anywhere in the rural sections of eastern Washington County, I would take your tornado precautions and stay there right now. We have not had any confirmed reports of tornadoes with these storms, and don't go outside and try and see it, because if there is anything on the ground with this, it's going to be obscured by rain. That's really been the case so far today. If you're in Marysville, Blue Rapids, you want to watch these storms carefully and stay here with us. We'll see if they're going to weaken before they get there, but as of right now, no tornado warning in those areas, but something that we're going to be watching here as we move on through about the next 10 or 15 minutes. Give you the area-wide view. As Jeremy was mentioning, we are watching the cold front that's stalled out, and look at all these warnings that we have now as we are hitting the top of the 8 o'clock hour here shortly. Warnings from Marion through Abilene, getting close to the Manhattan area. There's that newest severe thunderstorm warning, including the Seneca area as well, and the movement on these storms going to be to the northeast, so even places like Topeka, definitely Emporia, Holton, the entire area, we still need to be on alert as we move on through the rest of the evening for more thunderstorms that could produce hail, strong wind gusts, and there is even a tornado risk that will continue as we move on through the next few hours. So again, you want to be paying attention to the weather carefully. As Jeremy was mentioning earlier, oftentimes you'll get one round of storms, but the reason why we're seeing another round is because that front has just been stalled out. The storm system overall has been slow to move, and that's why we're seeing yet another round of storms developing with several severe storm warnings. As Doug was mentioning, right now, it's hail and wind, but certainly over the next couple of hours, we're going to have to watch these storms, particularly that one moving into Marion and Chase counties. There's a lot of storm chasers on it coming up from Wichita, and we've had multiple reports of funnel clouds with that thunderstorm. Nothing that's touched down just yet. We haven't had a tornado with it, but several reports of funnel clouds. So if you're in Emporia, anywhere in Lyon County, into Morris County as well, definitely want to watch that thunderstorm as it continues to move off to the northeast. Jeremy?
All right, thanks, Peyton. So a rare thing tonight, the tornado emergency that was issued in Lawrence and for Eudora as well. It's not very common to see a tornado emergency issued. That means big tornado moving toward a highly populated area. We see a lot of tornado warnings every year, but this was a big one going through a populated area. And now we've got just widespread severe storm warnings that we're tracking, and the one tornado warning in Washington County that's until 8:15. So let's look at the activity across the area right now. We have a tornado warning for the southern part of Washington County going until 8:15. You are in the path of a rotating storm. This is Doppler radar indicated near Lynn, near Barnes, near Greenleaf. The town of Washington itself is looks like it's just north of the path of the rotation at this point. Let's check out where we might have some hail in here. So the hail zone on this, there we go, and it's indicating the largest hail looks to be very close to the town of Washington itself. Many times you'll see the hail just north of where the rotation is showing up. So near Washington, Morrowville, you have the larger hail there, could be the size of a quarter to a golf ball, and the potential for a tornado near Lynn and Greenleaf at this time. We'll check the debris mode here. I don't see any debris, but the rotation is close to Greenleaf, Lynn, and Barnes. You're all in the path of this right now. You should be taking your tornado safety precautions. The rotation not as well defined as it was a few minutes ago from what I see there on the radar. Looking at the velocity here, the northern part going to southern Nebraska looks to be more well defined, if you will, and then putting the velocity here into a loop. You'll see it a little more well defined for a few minutes ago, and then it looks like it spun a little bit right here to the southeast of Washington, but the rotation does not appear on radar as strong as it was a few minutes ago. The tornado warning continues, and the risk of seeing large hail with that storm threat certainly continues as well. Now, down the line, we'll go over to Nemaha County and the western parts of southeast parts of Marshall County, that is, and we have the severe storm warning here. That's this storm right there over the southeast part of Marshall County. Hail the size of quarters, winds up to 60 miles per hour are the latest part of the warning with this. It's moving toward Vermilion, Centralia, Seneca. At this point, this one doesn't appear to have any rotation to it the way it's stretched out. I'm not sure that it ever will, but it's close to the warm front, so to rule it out with that, certainly I won't do that, but I can say that right now that storm does not look to be particularly dangerous, at least at this point. But Centralia, Seneca, Baileyville, hail the size of quarters and winds to 60 look to be likely in your area in just the next few minutes. All right, so down to the south, to the west that is, we'll look at the Clay County storm. This is moving from Clay County into the northern parts of Riley County, and that storm has winds to 60, hail the size of quarters possible here, and then it's going to be moving in the northern parts of Riley County. We also have the severe storm warning near Junction City at this point. Let me zoom it out one time. This is a storm just north of Junction City, close to Wakefield. That's going to move just north of Manhattan. We have to watch this one stretching out across Dickinson County, and the one moving to Chase and Marion as well. Doug, what do you have?
Yeah, Bridge, are you able to take Max 2 full screen so I can show some graphics here? Okay. While we're doing that, of course, we with a huge tornado that came through the area just south of Lawrence, all the way over towards Kansas City, we've had quite a bit of power lines come down, and we do have, yeah, Max 2. It should have down power lines. Just to give you an idea of where the storms are. There we go. And just to give you some safety tips for you on the down power lines from Lawrence over towards Kansas City. Obviously, you don't want to be near them because you don't know if they're going to come near you, or you don't know if they're still there. But you do want to stay away from them. You don't want to get electrocuted from that. And never touch the down power line. Don't walk through it. It is very, very dangerous in that area. And always assume down power line are energized and dangerous. So you just want to be extremely careful. Don't attempt to move them, and make sure you report them as well. So extremely dangerous situation there just south of Lawrence that brought some very strong winds to the area as well. And we're still seeing these storms continue to push up to the north and east. Still looking at that tornado warning just to the west of Marysville, and in the Washington area. We'll see if it does continue as it moves into Marysville. Right now I'm looking at the latest velocity, and I'm not seeing that might be the case. We'll see what happens there, but 8:15 is when that warning does expire. Otherwise, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings going until at least 8:30 for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and at least quarter-size hail. The Clay-Riley County warning does have ping pong ball size hail being reported with that system. You can go back to Max 1 if you haven't already.
All right. Let's look at the view from Manhattan now. This is from the Flint Hills Discovery Center looking to the southwest, and just an amazing view of the supercell storms there. This is the southwestern sky from Manhattan. So we have the huge updraft here, Anvil. Mammatus clouds hang down at the bottom of this. That's a sign that the storm is so powerful. Once it gets up to the top level, it can rise about 50, 55,000 feet. Then it starts to actually sink back down. You get kind of a lava lamp effect there as the sun lights up the bottom of this. So also a supercell right there just behind it. A line of these producing a big hail in parts of Riley County, the western part of Riley County. Another one into Dickinson County is all moving northeast. So as of right now, we have a tornado warning in Washington County, The velocity not showing the rotation as impressive as it was a few moments ago. So that's the big one, is a tornado warning there. We're seeing some signs of spin with the thing near Clay Center right now. It's not a tight spin, but it's starting to show up. A couple areas of spin there, as a matter of fact. So this tornado warning for Washington County going until 8:15. The areas like Greenleaf in the path of that right now. And we zoom back into this. So that's what we have in Washington County until 8:15. Marysville, you should be paying attention to that storm, but from what I see on the radar, it doesn't look like it is spinning anything like it was just a few minutes ago. So the tornado warning until 8:15 with this. Greenleaf, Hanover, Barnes, you are in the path of that tornado warning. I don't see it spinning like it was, but I'm not going to tell anybody not to take cover. You should be taking cover if you're in a tornado warning anywhere at any time. All right, so to the west here, the storm that's closer to Clay Center, there's a couple of areas where I'm seeing the bright reds and bright greens meeting up here on the map. So back to the reflectivity, and you'll see there's a spin here in the southwest part of this storm that's moving into the northwest part of Riley County. Also a little spin showing up there with the storm that's close to Clay Center. And there's a tornado warning right there popping on just as soon as I saw that thing. So just southeast of Morganville, just north of Clay Center, we have a brand new tornado warning just issued in the last 15 seconds here. So the National Weather Service seeing really the same thing I did there. They went straight from severe storm warning all the way to tornado. They had no severe storm warning. They went straight from, okay, here's rain, to here's a tornado warning on this thing. So they've issued a tornado warning for this storm cell, and it's going to go until 8:45, and it includes northern Riley County and northeast Clay County until 8:45. So if you're in Manhattan and you hear your NOAA weather radio screeching right now that there's a tornado warning for Riley County, it does not include the city of Manhattan. There's a tornado warning for the northern part of Riley County. It does not include the city of Manhattan at this point. Now, Manhattan might have a tornado warning coming in a few minutes, but it's not going to be from this one. That storm is going to stay in the north part of Riley County, the northeast part of Clay County. If you're in Clay County, the northeast part of the county, you need to take cover right now. That is a tornado warning. It's going to be Doppler radar indicated. This isn't touching down. No report of it on the ground.
Nothing yet, just radar indicated.
So I'm not saying it's not touching down. I mean to say there's no storm spotter confirming it down at this point. But the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for this based on the Doppler radar signature. And again, that storm just went from nothing to tornado warning in just a matter of a few minutes. I'll zoom this out and give you an idea of how unstable this atmosphere is and how quickly we went from nothing to something there. Back in the reflectivity, you've got a storm developing there. It's kind of the tail of that longer line here. So we'll loop this back in time about an hour. And an hour ago, there was nothing there. And then suddenly you see the storm filling in down in northern Clay County, and that's where we have the new tornado warning that's just been issued for that just northeast of Clay Center and for the northern part of Riley County. Again, that's going until 8:45 p.m.
The Washington County tornado warning will be allowed to expire at 8:15.
Thank you, Peyton. All right, so down the line, let's see the other storms, what's going on here. The tornado warning over Missouri. This is the same tornado warning, the same storm that produced tornado warnings all the way from just east of Emporia, all the way through Lawrence, all the way through Kansas City, and now is starting to make its way into the north central part of Missouri shortly. So that's the same storm still going. To the southwest, the storm near Abilene concerns me. We'll have to see and have to watch the southwest part of that is the area that would have the most dangerous portion, and it's spinning now. And that's not a surprise, but right here, this little bright green and bright red showing up beside each other in the southwest part of the storm near Hope and southeast of Carlton. This has potential to be the next tornado warning that's issued. So we'll zoom out on that, but that velocity there, seeing the southwest part of that, and certainly from seeing that signature, I was seeing on the tower camera from Manhattan how well pronounced the updraft is and how strong these are. I'll show you that again. We're looking down to the south towards some of these storms. You can zoom it in. I can just do it manually. I'm going to zoom in and show you what's going on with this thing near Manhattan. The view there is very, very impressive from the tower camera there. So here it is, and you got that view looking to the southwest from Manhattan at what is clearly a supercell storm there on the southwest horizon, and just what storm chasers call the fist of God, because the updraft is just straight up. You got the mammatus clouds there as well, but a very impressive storm cell, and that is going to be moving northeast toward Manhattan and panning around a little farther here due west at this point. You got storms on the horizon there, and then up to the northwest, you got more storms in progress. So several areas with dangerous storms in progress now, and we're going to see more of these, I really think, through the evening. I really think we'll have more tornado warnings issued for more storms over the next few hours. I do not think we're done with this. I don't think we're even close. All right, so tornado warning now in place for the northeast part of Clay County and northern Riley going until 8:45. You should be taking cover in those areas right now. We'll zoom more closely and give you some towns that are in the path of that. And Clay Center is not in the path of this. The storm is just northeast of Clay Center. So if you're in Clay Center, you're actually not in a warning at all. So you are safe in Clay Center from this storm. Zooming out a little bit, we'll take the, what's the motion on that, Peyton? Do you have it?
On which one? On the tornado warning?
Clay County tornado warning,
okay.
yeah.
Let me get it here. They're saying we're going east at 30.
Okay, so that's different than we've been seeing with the other storms. The other one in Washington County was going east, I guess, but east at 30. So we'll do the track here from the Hook Echo off to the east, 30 miles per hour for forward motion. We got Fancy Creek Church at 8:32 p.m. And to the south, we've got Green Elementary School, 8:17 and 8:22 p.m. for Pleasant Hill School. So Fancy Creek, of course, is one of the waterways that dumps into Tuttle. And we'll see a lot of rainwater coming in from that. I'm not saying the storm is going to be, you know, what makes a difference there, but any rainwater in Tuttle right now is not a great thing, obviously, but that's the tornado warning there in the northeast part of Clay County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning right down here. This storm looks like it's now moved into the northwest part of its warning into the Leonardville and Riley areas. So that severe thunderstorm warning looks like it stayed north of the folks at Fort Riley. Check the velocity on this and see if we got any sort of spin going there. I don't see much, maybe near Leonardville. We'll see, but for now that one is a severe thunderstorm warning. And then south, we've got the storm in Dickinson County that's starting to show more of a sign right there. That's it, that bright green and bright red on each other in the southern part of Dickinson County. That one's going to probably be the next one in line. So we'll put that into motion and see what it looks like as we roll it here. There are a lot of storm chasers on the storm that's near Wichita at this point. So if they saw that thing getting closer to the ground, the one that's going toward Chase and Marion, it'd be a warning right away. But in many cases, if they have a lot of storm chasers on it, they don't have to have a Doppler radar indicated tornado because they know it from looking at it. But a storm like this one that's in southern Dickinson County, once it starts to brighten up on radar, if you don't have a trained storm spotter looking at it, in many cases they'll make it Doppler radar indicated. But if they have a Congo line of people that are chasing it, they won't issue until they see it doing more. But the one that's coming into Chase and Marion counties right here, this has a history of funnel clouds, and the storm chasers so far say that funnel clouds aren't getting down any lower than the actual wall cloud. So it's producing funnels, has been for a while, but if it's not touching down, then
there we go. We got that new one for Dickinson and Morris County.
Okay. All right. So Dickinson, Morris counties is the new warning coming in, and that's just what I showed you on the radar there. And this is the signs of the rotation there on the velocity mode. And these radars are so good now that you really can pick them out. But near Dickinson, Morris County till 8:45 p.m. That is the new tornado warning that's just been issued, and it's going to be Doppler radar indicated. Looks like it's moving to the northeast, and we'll go ahead and zoom more closely on this. So there it is, southeast part of Dickinson County, near the town of Hope. If you're in Hope, take cover now. That thing is almost right on top of Hope. Woodbine, Latimer, Harrington, you are all in the path of this. Let's do a track and give you the times here.
Northeast at 35.
Northeast 35. Did they say it's near Hope? What's the location of it?
Yeah, over Hope.
Okay, they just took the box a little farther to the southwest, but it's near Hope And on the cone track here, we'll take it out in time, 35 miles per hour to the northeast. So we've got it going into Woodbine, 829. If it goes a little farther to the southeast, we'll be looking at Latimer, 838. And if it goes way down to the east, which is unlikely, Harrington would be in the path. I don't think it will curve like this, but certainly if you're in Woodbine, Latimer, you should be taking cover right now. Harrington, too. You are not very far away from this. So that is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. So let's look at this a little wider here and see who's in the path, because it's Junction City and Manhattan. You need to watch that storm in southeast Dickinson County very carefully. If you're in Manhattan, if you're in Junction City, if you're at Fort Riley and Ogden, these areas, that tornado warning should interest you greatly at this point. I'm not saying it's going to get worse than it looks right now on the radar. I don't know that, but that storm is heading in that direction. And so far this evening, we've seen several of them been very dangerous. The one going through Kansas City, Lawrence, and near Osage City earlier was certainly by far the worst. Let's check out the Storm Spotter Reports map, as a matter of fact, for today. Actually, this is going to be for just the last hour.
I can change it here.
I don't have it set up to go back that far. That's okay. But what we have right now, again, we have several severe storm warnings in the area, and at least 2 tornado warnings right now. So the tornado warning for Washington County is now gone. We have 2 different tornado warnings in place. The one for the northeast part of Clay and the northern part of Riley County. That's this one right up here. So this is a Doppler radar indicated rotation from what I've seen so far. Go back onto the velocity here and see what's showing up here on the radar. And the rotation is going to be in this part of the storm right in here, the northeast corner of Clay County. So the northern part of Riley County, you're in the path of this too. We could even see Clay County removed from that in the next few minutes. But folks around Randolph, you should be taking cover, and the folks around Riley as well. You are close enough to it that you probably should as well. But the warning there is going to be for Randolph and just the northern rural parts of Riley County. So zooming back out here, we have the other storms, the tornado warning also for Dickinson County. Zoom it back out. There we go. Back to the home view. And going back in, so the southeast Dickinson County warning is this one right here, and that one's moving to the northeast, will affect areas in northwest parts of Morris County shortly as well. So we have Dickinson and Morris County in that tornado warning right now, and the rotation showing it very close to the town of Hope, very close to Woodbine as well. So Hope, Woodbine, Harrington, Latimer, you should be taking your tornado safety precautions right now. Get away from windows, lowest level of your house, put as many walls as possible between you and the storm, and that's what you've got. Doppler radar indicated tornado warning, southeast Dickinson County, moving into the southwest part of Morris County as a Doppler radar indicated tornado. And again, Manhattan and Junction City should be watching that storm very closely. To the south, this storm is making its way into parts of Chase and Marion counties at this time, has a history of funnel clouds. As of now, the National Weather Service is not issuing a tornado warning with it, or tornado warnings at all with it at this point, because there are a lot of storm chasers on it, and they don't see it getting close to touching down. They've seen it spinning, they've seen it producing funnel clouds and wall clouds, but they have not seen it make a move that looked like it was about to touch down. So that's why it has not had a tornado warning issued with it. So here's a live look at it. I'm going to take you from our tower camera in Emporia, looking to the southwest, very close to the Kansas Turnpike. The left side of your screen there is part of the updraft right there. And the right side, you can see the sun going down kind of under the anvil, where it's all bright orange. But that's that supercell storm that's going to work its way up just north of the Kansas Turnpike, and may affect Emporia. It looks like the worst part will probably stay to the west of Emporia. We'll see, but that's a very well-defined updraft there, a very powerful storm. And again, that's going to be coming into the WIBW viewing area over the next few hours. Most likely that will be producing warnings all the way up to Topeka. That's my feeling, what I see from the position of that, the direction of motion, the time of day. And I'd certainly be willing to bet that will produce a severe storm warning, at least in Shawnee County, within the next 2 hours. I don't think it'll be sooner than that, but certainly by 10 o'clock, maybe a little sooner, we could see that get into Shawnee County. But that storm bears watching very closely as well. All right, so down the line again, we have, I think that's a new one for Marshall County now, going to 8:45.
It's a continuation for the Marshall and Washington.
Okay. Washington Marshall to 8:45, golf ball size hail. Winds gusting as high as 60 miles per hour with that storm. We've got the storm in Nemaha and Marshall County.
All right, now we got an upgrade to the Clay and Riley County for a 2-inch diameter hail. So now we're getting into this big hail that we were expecting earlier today.
That's for Clay and Riley. That's the northern. Is that the tornado warning storm?
No, that's the severe thunderstorm warning storm.
I'm looking at it here on radar. It's the northernmost storm. Yep, right there.
Which
here,
one?
So pull me up over here real quick. I'll show you the hail core. Let me show you the reflectivity mode of radar, and we will turn on the hail mode of radar over here. There's the hail core. It's going to be north of Leonardville, so that's where we could be looking at some 2-inch diameter hail. That storm moving in an easterly direction, so that looks like that's going to affect the northern sections of Riley County with the potential for some 2-inch diameter hail. Tornado warning does continue for the northeastern sections of Clay County and northern Riley County. Let's look at the wind mode on radar here real quick and see what that's looking like here over the past few radar scans. It's not as pronounced as it was earlier when it was near Morganville, but these things can have a tendency to cycle. So just because the rotation is rather weak right now, doesn't mean that it's not going to pick up again. This is a delayed report from Washington County at 8:01 of some baseball-sized hail. So that was from Washington County about 20 minutes ago now. Let me see what that storm looked like about 20 minutes ago in Washington County. So that's going to be with this line of storms. Yeah, we've had several reports of golf ball to even that baseball-sized hail report. Let's look at the hail mode here on radar with that storm and kind of see. Looks like the largest hail core here, where you see those shades of yellow and orange, is going to be right along and just north of the Kansas-Nebraska state line. So Marysville, Blue Rapids, the hail's probably not going to be quite as large for you, but you should certainly be prepared for the potential for some wind gusts that could be up to around 60 miles per hour. So possibly some wind damage with those storms moving into Marysville. Doug, you have an update.
Yeah, so we have word that the American Red Cross will be opening up a shelter at the First Church of the Nazarene in Lawrence on 1470 North 1000 Road at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock this evening, they will be opening that, starting to get some volunteers down that way. And at the very least, we'll be open tonight, but as long as those that need the shelter open for the next couple of days, even after that, it'll certainly stay open until then as well. So head on out there if you are needing shelter from those storms that just passed south of Lawrence. And the First Church of the Nazarene, 1470 North 1000 Road. That's going to be open at 9 o'clock this evening. Jeremy?
All right, thanks, Doug. So kind of a history of what's going on. These are funnel cloud reports. The storm that we're talking about moving into Chase County, funnel cloud, hail, hail, funnel cloud, hail. So now it's getting into Chase County, and we'll see if it's I really think that was going to wind up the tornado warning at some point. So zooming out here, we had a tornado reported just south of Osage City. That was the big storm. And then, of course, impossible to miss that it touched down in Lawrence, the south side of town, doing a lot of damage. Went right up the Kansas Turnpike. Some damage around Bonner Springs and close to the Kansas Speedway. And we've even seen it touch down over Missouri. So that's where the tornado reports have been so far. And then zooming back out here, we had a hail earlier this evening. Actually, it was close to 5 p.m., I believe, right here on the west side of Shawnee County. We had a report of 2-inch diameter hail near Willard. Let's see what the time was on that. So 2-inch hail, 4:51 p.m. At Willard. That was 4:51, so that's been several hours ago. And then we've had of course, these storms touching down. We had this one touchdown as tornado as it moved into parts of Republic County, and that's kind of the map of where we've had the storm spotter reports so far today. Again, I am concerned about this one moving through Chase County. It's had a history of producing funnel clouds, lots of funnel clouds. It has a ton of storm chasers on it, and that makes a big difference between if you get a Doppler radar indicated tornado warning or if you get a spotter confirmed tornado warning. One that's in a big population hub like Wichita is going to have a ton of storm chasers that just happen to live there already. So they're going to tell you probably over and over again if the thing is touched down. Probably get 506 phone calls if it touches down near Wichita, whereas the one near Hope, Kansas may not have a storm chaser on it at all. So that's a difference sometimes for the Doppler radar indicated or spotter. So near Hope, still seeing the signs of rotation there as it moves into the northwest parts of Morris County. So the tornado warning there continues until 8:45 p.m. We'll loop that and watch the velocity on this. As you can see the spin, and it doesn't look the spin holding together that well at this point, but the spin is still there. So it is a Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. To the north, it gets super complicated with this one because we have a severe thunderstorm that's producing hail 2 inches diameter right here, and the tornado warning is for this storm to the north across the rural part of Riley County. So Clay County is actually out of the rotational part of that storm. So if you're in Clay Center, you are definitely not in the tornado warning right now, but to the north in Riley County, you have the two different storms. One that's producing hail 2 inches diameter, and the other one is the one that has the tornado warning actually with it at this point. So the actual warning there, tornado warning again for the northern parts of Riley County, that's going until 8:45 p.m. And the Clay County part of this likely to be dropped shortly, but the northern part of Riley County, you're still dealing with that rotating storm. And then again, I mentioned the second one. This one has the 2-inch diameter hail. To the south in Manhattan, just to the northwest of Manhattan, just about to go over Tuttle Creek Lake, we've got a severe storm cell. This one could produce hail up to quarter size any time. And we'll look at the view from Manhattan right now from our live tower camera there from the Flint Hills Discovery Center. And we've been looking at storms on the horizon, well-defined updrafts. That's looking to the south-southwest from Manhattan right now. I'll turn the camera around here and we'll look to the northwest at the storm cell that's severe just northwest of Manhattan going over a part of Tuttle Creek Lake. And that direction, you can see certainly the dark clouds on the horizon. It's not a tornado warning at this point, but certainly hail the size almost larger than a golf ball is possible with that activity. So kind of a red sky there in the northwest looking from the Flint Hills Discovery Center in Manhattan to the northwest. And to the south, we have the severe storm warning for Chase County. That storm is moving to the northeast and very likely to have a warning for that. So I'm not sure that it'll be tornado warning or a severe storm warning, but that is moving toward Emporia and should be a problem in Lyon County. Certainly within the next half an hour or so, we'll see a warning issued there for Lyon County. You can see the updraft pretty well defined on the left side of your screen, and then to the right, just kind of a red sky looking off into the sunset on what's been a very stormy day in northeast Kansas. So again, the tornado warning continues for the Hope area in Dickinson County. A little hook echo showing up there close to Woodbine, and it looks like Hope is now out of the tornado warning, but Latimer, you are right in the path of that, and it's going to be working its way northeastward toward Highway 77, and then ultimately that storm will make its way into the southern parts of Gary County.
All right, Jeremy, I can get an update over here.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the storms in Marysville, too, here real quick. The severe thunderstorm warning's in effect right now, moving into the area. We're looking at a straight line wind potential here. Could see 60 miles per hour about to move into Marysville, also Blue Rapids and Oquito. I'm also looking at indications on radar that we could potentially be looking at some hail around quarter size with this storm. We did get the reports earlier of that, the larger hail, but it looks like the hail core on that storm has stayed mostly north of the Kansas-Nebraska state line. These icons here indicate where we did have the reports of large hail. But you can see actually looks like this is starting to strengthen a little bit more. There was the obvious hail core earlier when we had a report of some baseball-sized hail just north of the state line. But this could be a little bit larger hail now, maybe up to $half size. So in Marysville, be prepared for some hail, also some straight-line winds that could be up to around 60 miles per hour. If you're watching our coverage from Manhattan, if you have a weather radio, it might have gone off for a tornado warning. This is the far northern part of Riley County. So no threat of a tornado with this storm because it's well to the north, or no threat in Manhattan rather, because that storm is well to your north. I want to look at at the rotation here on radar, again, the northeastern parts of Clay County, that part of the tornado warning has been trimmed up, no longer includes parts of Clay County. And based here on radar, this rotation is starting to become more disorganized, so that's some good news. There are some signs of some weakening there with the rotation there in northern sections of Riley County. Let's go back down the line here. We do have a tornado warning still for the western sections of Morris County. Does not include White City, but the Latimer area under this tornado warning. This one has a little bit more of a classic hook echo on radar to the southwest of Woodbine. As we look at the rotation on radar associated with this storm, there is rotation south of Woodbine and south of Latimer. So if you're in these areas, go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now. Out of the 2 tornado warnings that we have, that is certainly the one with stronger rotation. We're still monitoring to the storm to the southwest of Emporia down in Chase County. Taking a look at that storm, that's continuing to move to the northeast, and there's still some broad rotation with it. We have, as Jeremy was mentioning, we have a lot of storm chasers on that storm because it developed around Wichita. So we had a lot of chasers come out of the Wichita area. I've been monitoring their reports, and I haven't seen a whole lot within about the past 15 minutes. So we'll see if that trend continues and those spotters are still on that storm. But at this point, we'll continue to monitor that. Hopefully it weakens, but we're just going to have to continue to monitor that as it continues to move through Chase County and gets closer to Emporia. Let's get the wide view here. Area wide, we did see a second round of thunderstorms develop along a front that is stalled out along the I-135 corridor. These are moving to the northeast. The environment is still favorable for severe weather, so we're talking hail threat, wind threat. Still can't rule out that isolated tornado threat, and it's probably going to still be another couple hours yet before we're done with any sort of severe weather. So we're thinking at least through 11 o'clock there's still a possibility of severe weather, and certainly it's ongoing right now, but that threat could continue that late, so we'll be monitoring that. But we want to go back up here to the northernmost storms. This is a situation even here moving through Marysville and Blue Rapids. It's mainly straight line winds, but given the setup here in the northern part of the state, you could even see a brief spin up tornado along this line. So I would encourage you to stay indoors, stay away from windows with this line of storms moving through places like Marysville and Blue Rapids right now. And then downstream, new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Includes places like Winifred, Frankfort, Beatty, also Axtell. Thinking a little bit more ahead here, if you're in Seneca, you'll want to monitor these storms as well. But based here on radar, these could certainly be some wind gusts that might be up to near 70 miles per hour and continuing to move to the east. You're also going to get lots of heavy rainfall with those storms continuing to move in through places like Marysville and Blue Rapids. Doug, you're standing by with an update.
Yep, I'm just getting my update right here on the WIBW News app, and if you don't have it, looking at your phone here, we do have an update. I mentioned that First Church of Nazarene would be the shelter for the American Red Cross opening at 9 o'clock. Well, that's not going to be the case. They're looking for a new one because the church did lose power. So we'll continue to update you on the latest on that. If you're in the Douglas County area and needing a shelter for tonight, we will continue to keep you updated on where that shelter is going to be set up with and get you some shelter at least for tonight. Peyton, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Doug. Here's a view from the Cyrus Hotel. You can see the storm clouds to the west. We're going to be monitoring those storms coming in to Topeka potentially if they hold together. So that's still going to be another couple of hours or so, but something worth watching carefully. We still do have 2 active tornado warnings here in our viewing area. Northern Riley, also northwest sections of Morris County, eastern Dickinson County. The rotation here in northern Riley County, as we mentioned, it's starting to become a little bit more disorganized. But again, these storms can have a tendency to go, they can weaken a little bit, and they can strengthen again. So we're going to have to just continue to monitor the conditions. If you're in the northwestern parts of Pottawatomie County, you want to keep an eye on that storm. We'll see if we're going to see any new tornado warnings issued for that. But right now, based on the radar scan coming in, that rotation is a little bit weaker than it was a little while ago. Also tornado warning, eastern sections of Dickinson County, western Morris County. This storm still shows that hook echo there south of Woodbine. That is still definitely a rotating storm that's about to move into the western parts of Morris County, where we do have a tornado warning that is still in effect. So places like White City, you're not included within the tornado warning just yet, but certainly want to monitor that storm as it continues to get closer. That is a tornado warning in effect until 8:45. Jeremy?
All right, thanks, Peyton. So here's kind of the wide view across the area. We have a severe storm warning going through Chase County, getting close to Lyon County. we have a tornado warning that's making its way out of Dickinson and northwest parts of Morris that looks like the rotation is not as tight as it was. We have storms across the northern part of Riley County. This has rotation, and that storm has a history of hail the size of 2 inches diameter in northern Riley County. Also a severe storm warning for the western part of Marshall, eastern Washington. That has a history of baseball-sized hail. That also produced tornadoes near Belleville earlier this evening, and now it's a severe storm warning with 60-mile-per-hour winds going into parts of Marshall County. So all kinds of stuff going on right now. Of course, the big tornado hitting Lawrence earlier today and hitting around the Kansas Speedway. Still waiting to get more updates on kind of the damage in those areas, but that's the story, is that a big tornado hit just south of Lawrence, the south side of Lawrence, and worked its way right along the Kansas Turnpike, doing damage to at least one of the toll booths was hit. And then that storm went through the Kansas Speedway, the north side of Kansas City, and is now tearing up parts of west central Missouri. So here's what we have on the radar, Capital Federal Live Storm Tracker closer to home. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Marshall County, including Frankfort is in this. That's until 9:30, and that's for winds to 60 miles per hour, likely hail the size of quarters, or at least close to it. On the velocity mode here, you can see the leading edge of the strong straight line winds close to Waterville and Blue Rapids at this point. That'll be making its way east across Marshall County, and again that warning goes until 9:30. So home is in the path, Beatty is in the path, and we'll go ahead and do some time arrivals here with this new severe thunderstorm right there. Leading edge, that green is the leading edge of the stronger straight line winds with this. So moving east at about 35 miles per hour. I'll put it right about there. So we're going to have it arriving in home at 8:47, Frankfort at 8:54. A more southeast trajectory, be looking at Frankfort 8:55 and home at 8:44. So not a big difference on that, but it's more of a straight line wind event from what I see on the radar there in parts of Marshall County.
Hail core, I'm just looking here on the radar, the hail core is starting to increase now over Marysville. Looks
go ahead and show Peyton's hail core. Go ahead.
Let me get you back up here to this storm. Real quick, there we go. This brighter shades of pink, that's higher reflectivity, and that's indicating where we're looking at potentially, I'd say that could be some hail, maybe up to golf ball size now. It didn't look quite as large earlier, but now seeing some indications of strengthening, and look at that. That's exactly what we're seeing. So the shades of orange, at least let me show you what radar is estimating. That's showing some 1.5-inch hail, so maybe some ping pong ball to golf ball sized hail are going to be in Marysville right about now. And in addition to that, potential for some wind gusts that could be up to around 60 miles per hour or so. So straight line winds and a hail threat moving through Marysville, Oquito as well, Blue Rapids, lots of heavy torrential rainfall and lots of lightning with these storms that'll be heading towards Beatty, Winifred, and Frankfort. All right, let's get you updated here on the tornado warnings. We still have the tornado warning for northern sections of Riley County. Again, that circulation, let me look at it here on this other computer. It's not looking nearly as organized as it was earlier. There's still some very weak rotation that we have to monitor with it. We'll see that's getting out of the tornado warning polygon, and it's set to expire around 8:45. So we'll see what the Weather Service is going to do with that tornado warning there. Let me check out what's happening. Let's see what that looks like there, southwest of Blue Rapids. That might be a circulation. We'll have to monitor there, southwest of Blue Rapids. I'll see what that looks like in the next radar scan to make sure it's not just some bad data showing up. Let's go back down here into Dickinson and Morris counties. We're still looking at a storm that has been rotating for quite a while, a rotation close to Woodbine. With both of these tornado warnings that we have right now, we have not seen any reports of wall clouds. That's what you look for first before you're even considering any sort of funnel clouds. And the tornado warning will expire for Riley County. So as I was mentioning, rotation's weakened, so northern Riley County tornado warning is going to expire at 8:45. So Randolph, you'll have the all clear at 8:45. Anyone in the northern sections of Riley County, that tornado warning will expire because the rotation has weakened significantly. So we still do have the one active tornado warning until 8:45 for western sections of Morris County. This storm right here, the rotation on radar is still there, so we'll have to continue to monitor this storm. If you're in White City, Skiddy, you want to be watching this. We'll see here in a moment if we're going to see a new tornado warning issued, but there is still at least some rotation with that storm at this point in time. It doesn't look overly strong, though, based on what I'm seeing here on radar. So we'll see what the Weather Service is going to do with that storm. All right, let's go here to now getting close into Lyon County. We have a storm in eastern sections of Marion County, southeast of Cottonwood Falls. We can look at the rotation here. There's no rotation associated with that storm, so that's some good news. But let's look at the hail mode here on radar, and that could be some hail that might be up to ping pong ball size. So if you're in Emporia, we'll have to monitor that. Let me go back here to the rain mode of radar and put it over the past few scans, and that's moving in a northeasterly direction. So if you're in Emporia, we'll have to see what develops with that storm as it gets ready to cross the Chase and Lyon County line, about to move along the Kansas Turnpike. Definitely some heavy rainfall, lightning, and the potential for some hail with that storm. So Plymouth, Emporia, western and central sections of Lyon County, heads up with that storm as it gets ready to move in. Jeremy?
All right, thanks, Peyton. Looking to the west-southwest from downtown Topeka, you can see one of these big storm towers on the horizon, and the fact that it is still so vertical lets you know they're not falling apart at this point. Still a well-defined updraft here. Still seeing hail produced out of these, still seeing a tornado risk, and as long as you have updrafts that look like that, you're still dealing with really severe weather that's ongoing. So back on our radar mode, go back to the reflectivity, and we have the one tornado warning that's in place here, just to the northwest of Council Grove in Morris County. That tornado warning it was for rotation that was moving near Hope a little while ago. Now the hook to it is located close to Latimer and Woodbine at this time. So Doppler radar indicated. I haven't seen a report of this touching down. Now let's move back out here. And that rotation is going to be right there, again, near Woodbine at this time, making its way to the northeast. Areas like Alta Vista would be in the path of that storm as it makes its way northeast. So again, that is a tornado warning associated with this one.
That severe thunderstorm warning for Marshall, Pottawatomie, and Riley County until 9:30 now has 70-mile-per-hour wind gust potential with that.
70 miles per hour, okay. That's for which counties again?
That's the Marshall, Pottawatomie, and Riley. Let's see if we can get some cities on that.
That's the one moving through Marysville. That's what we're talking about, moving through Marysville. I'm seeing some reports of hail in Marysville now, and straight line winds there moving through Marysville and Blue Rapids.
Okay, yeah. We got Frankfort, Axtell, Beatty, Randolph, Summerfield, Vermilion, Okedo, and Lillis. Those are the other cities that are in the potential path of the 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and ping pong ball size hail.
All right, so back on the radar here, looking at the storm that's over the southwest part, or the northwest parts of Morris County, and that's the one, we have two different tornado warnings at this point. One to the north here, just making its way across the northern part of Riley County, expires in 4 minutes, and the southern one expires at 8:45. Both of these go away at 8:45, depending on what the radar sees or what storm spotters tell the National Weather Service in the next few minutes here. So the one that's near White City at this time, I'm going to check out the velocity mode on this. That's been moving to the northeast, and the rotation there is not as well defined as it's been. Going back in time, you can see as it moved past Hope, we had a well-defined spin on this. And that's the well-defined spin. Getting up into Woodbine and White City is where it is now. It is not as well-defined as it was. It looks like they've just issued new severe thunderstorm warning
for
now.
Lyon County.
What's that?
Lyon County.
For Lyon County.
Yeah,
okay.
that goes until 9:30, so that does include Emporia.
Okay.
And 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail.
Okay.
And we also did have a report 9 miles south of Junction City, got a report of 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts at 8:30, so 12 minutes ago.
All right, very good. So to the south here, there's the view from Lyon County. Our severe thunderstorm warning there going until 9:30, and the velocity on this, we'll check it out, see if we have any sort of spin. There's a little spin showing up on this. Doesn't look terribly tight, and again, I really think they've got a ton of storm spotters, storm chasers that are on this thing, probably making a traffic jam following that into Lyon County. So in the next 3 minutes here, we're going to have no tornado warnings in the DMA. Anybody want to check and see what we go do there? So we've got Emporia. Lyon County is going to be in this severe thunderstorm warning. For what I see in the rotation there, it doesn't look like a tornado with that moving into Lyon County. not from what I see on the radar. So our tower camera there from the Emporia cam provided by ValueNet Fiber, looking to the west-southwest from the west side of Emporia. And we'll probably see plenty of lightning on this and hail the size of quarters to golf balls, most likely. But from what I see there on the radar, the velocity, I don't see a spin on that would justify a tornado warning at this point, not from what I see.
It definitely looks like it's falling apart.
Hopefully. All right, so we've got kind of a line there. It's kind of at the lead of the line. Typically the tail of these lines have the better chance to spin. So this activity to the north, we're getting reports now this could be 70-mile-per-hour winds with this. There's a bright green showing up near Blue Rapids, and that's going to be certainly strong straight-line winds. Blue Rapids, Frankfort, that's going to be coming your way. Vermilion and Baileyville, you'll be dealing with this shortly. So the velocity mode here on the radar, let's see what sort of numbers we're getting for the velocity here. It's showing, let's see, 53 miles per hour. Go away from the radar that complicates that as well. So winds could be up to 70 miles per hour there in parts of Marshall County with that. As again, it's moving to the east, winds could be 60, 70 miles per hour moving there across the central part of Marshall County.
Tornado warning will expire and we're good.
For who?
Dickinson and Morris.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the only word. So no more tornado warnings.
Okay, so we're going to go back to programming?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes.
Okay.
We still have the significant severe thunderstorm warning, though, Marshall, Potawatomi, and Riley for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and 2-inch diameter hail.
Okay.
So that's certainly significant to make sure that that goes until 9:30 to make sure you're staying in your shelter with that particular storm moving across Marysville right now.
Okay, so I want to share one more thing with you here before we go back to programming, to CBS programming, and what's going to be here is I'll show you just this tower camera image we had a little while ago. It's been hours ago at this point, but this was the look from Lawrence, actually. The first look I had at that tornado that hit the south side of Lawrence, that was at 6:22. And so that's the when this actually, it's not the first look I had, actually a look from our tower camera before the tower camera was knocked offline. Not sure if power knocked out or winds or what, but it was knocked out. And then that's the tornado there on the left side of your picture. And that storm did a lot of damage on the south side of Lawrence and then made its way toward the Kansas Speedway. That's a picture of the one of the city street cameras there in Lawrence, as well as the tornado was making its way through the city. Extreme winds and again doing some damage. So this has been a dangerous day across Kansas. We've seen several tornadoes touch down, and right now this is the first time I could say since about 4:30 this afternoon that we don't have any tornado warnings in the area. So winds to 60 or 70 possible for the Frankfort area over to Beatty. Severe storm warning here for Marshall, northwest part of Potawatomi, northeast Riley. We have a severe storm warning near Junction City and Fort Riley as well. Hail the size of golf balls possible here. That storm is moving northeast and likely to affect folks around Manhattan. So zooming in more closely on this one time, you've got Manhattan likely to see a severe storm moving through in the next 20 to 30 minutes. That storm in near Junction City has potential for hail at least the size of quarters, maybe up to golf balls, and I don't see a lot of spin in it, fortunately. Then down the line, we have a severe storm warning approaching, Emporia at this point, and the severe storm warning in place for Lyon County for this at this point. So the warning there in Lyon County, severe storm warning going until 9:30 p.m. So again, we'll break into programming for severe storm warnings once in a while, obviously, but we won't stay on wall-to-wall for this situation. So we'll go back to programming now. We'll watch everything here, and if anything starts spinning, we'll of course break in. But for now, the Tornado Watch goes till 10 o'clock. And again, we appreciate you watching this for your severe weather coverage. We'll do our best to always keep you safe and informed.